talking about how the English, them people who so quick to call us savages, became quote unquote civilized. He attributes this and their Christianization to the interests of Gregory the Great, who, as Yarrow, an Englishman, tells us, one day while walking along the slave market in Rome and talking about how the English, them people who so quick to call us savages, became quote unquote civilized. He attributes this and their Christianization to the interests of Gregory the Great, who, as Yarrow, an Englishman, tells us, one day while walking along the slave market in Rome, saw for sale about 15 or 20 fair-skinned, blue-eyed, blonde-haired young people laying in the dirt, barefooted, and bear in mind this is still an Englishman talking, and talking about how the English, them people who so quick to call us savages, became quote-unquote civilized. He attributes this and their Christianization to the interests of Gregory the Great, who, as Yarrow, an Englishman, tells us, one day while walking along the slave market in Rome, saw for sale about 15 or 20 fair-skinned, blue-eyed, blonde-haired young people laying in the dirt, barefooted, and bear in mind this is still an Englishman talking. And he asks the owner, who are they? And the owner says, they come from across the English Channel. If you're interested in buying them, you can have 3 for the price of 1 or any of the other slaves. And talking about how the English, them people who so quick to call us savages, became quote unquote civilized. He attributes this and their Christianization to the interests of Gregory the Great, who, as Yarrow, an Englishman, tells us, one day while walking along the slave market in Rome, saw for sale about 15 or 20 fair-skinned, blue-eyed, blonde-haired young people laying in the dirt, barefooted, and bear in mind this is still an Englishman talking. And he asks the owner, who are they? And the owner says, they come from across the English Channel. If you're interested in buying them, you can have 3 for the price of 1 or any of the other slaves. He said they're cheap because they only weigh 1/3 as much as anybody else's weight. Blows your mind, doesn't it? And say the country that they come from is a place called Angleland. And Gregory is supposed to have said, he said then, are they Christian? And the guy said, are you kidding? Hell no, they're heathen. Hell no, they're heathen.
So it's going to get you in. What? What? I'm rocking. Who says we ain't in the building? Who says we ain't into building? We the Moorish master masons, architects for your children, rapping Friday 30s like Jason without the killing. But we promote light, oh, it's all about the feeling. And we invoke light, yo, we them light beings. Though you might see him on the block getting this posse, might be talking to cops, giving them caution, occasionally wearing his vest when he's walking. See the turning head, whispering gawking, but he's locked in and he's zoned out while we boxed in our own house. Study the mystics, the adepts, the magi, wisdom of the ancients can all calcify odds. Possible mission, free mental numbness, extract the substance with minds of darkness. Use the source, don't care what's on report. As we know by being told, man knows not. Many before the floor, souls got born. Placed in the devil's hands, ruling the 7 lands. To dogma rituals, Negro spirituals, brainwash subliminal, keep thinking to a minimal. They still criminal. In a world digital so pitiful, mental survival so critical, it's visible. Can you see mass like this rock? Hashtag zombies with waves of cyberpunk. No need for cell phones, they speak from soft arms. It's nothing for alarm, chips and forearms.
Wind, brass, and bass, such a beautiful serenade. Women feeding me grapes, I'm feeding to in these serenades. Whether the sky is clear or gray, rain when you hear it fake, giving life to see. Speaking through what I hear today. Show you the future in a glance. You can always look to these holes like hallucinatory dance. Sun walk the desert, been more of a since I found God. Look back, used to see his friends. Forget being a prince, I'm a G. OD, grown man, no jokey. Denying you don't know me. Don't make me tap into the old me. That's like a couple hundred years. Walk around town with a couple hundred peers and release the peace of fears. The sun gon' shine for what tears? This young brother here just trying to get his third eye clear.
Moors don't sleep. Invest in your mind, body, and unleash. Real life rap, spitting over tracks. Conscious thinking and living and then attack. This Moors don't sleep. Invest in your mind, body, and unleash. Yeah. Real life rap, spitting over tracks. Conscious thinking and living and then attack.
So as the moon sets, the sun takes its place and spoons on blocks, inspired spots, fill spaces, peel back, rats, who got cases, fire stain the corridors with flemo faces, game changers, rule benders and no pretenders, style benders, channel my vibe through the vibrant optic lenses, send a message to our veterans, soldiers up and get it in, we on our birds, we emerge subliminal beings, third eye seeing, still I participate unwilling.
They wanna break me, shake, bake, gravy, running with my name G, double O-N-G, S-O-N is crazy for me. That you think you can take me for a fool like a native to his land, being schooled by a foreign dude. Keep mistaking me, spot is on the roof, in the dark rooms. I've been saying you mistaken me. You better move or I'll mark it. Power things my tongue, to resistance to target. Revealing all lies and deceit on the market. Genocide, carry out in pockets, I knock it. Down bulldozer, David took a light if it's an exposure. Some big heads ruling and it's getting closer to your downfall, round up on your soldiers.
Little homie, I was seeking a fortune, tired of misfortune. I just wanted a portion. Everything that I never had, though I needed my portion. Blowing like porcelain, haters battling as porcelain. Getting broke, tired of being broke. How we acquire hope is the beach still as a dope. Just to keep us afloat, might as deep as a boat. Green is a lethal weapon, we one need to alone. When I speak, I provoke. Walk in the room with my aura feeling like heavy smoke. Feel like when the levy broke. Under my Louis fitted the semi-pump. Cause then we cops and kick it, boy, yeah, the joke. The car for living, higher profit to private prison. These little girls are sunny black just to pay tuition. These little niggas sunny niggas just to build condition. It's like the snake you never end the prison in the mission. I want to free the world, but I'm one man. A couple ones like me and me one plan. I want to free the world, but I'm one man. A couple ones like me and one plan.
From the ancestral ground. I'm a gremlin, I'm a ghoul, I'm a monster. Tell me your dark secrets if you want stuff. On a moral incline, I won't haunt ya. I won't spill beans, no I won't say jack. Be in the movement, man, we go way back. This ain't your everyday old school playback. Old enough to know, homie don't play that. But she will, so let's be real. Some just wanna go and come back for a refill. All they wanna do is need $1 million and make $1 million off $1 million, stack it to the ceiling, throw it in a truck. I peel off all these, no trash, light it up, invoke all smoke, no gas. And whose blues clue said hope don't last. I'm in the heart of our rock beat, Japanese, live with tights on overdrive. Past the peas, but past the please. If you don't mind, I'd rather not opine over spirits that may or may not live inside a bovine that dance along a clothesline.
They will never leave us, no, they'll never go. The words of ancestors, all written down in stone. They will never leave us, no, they'll never go. The words of ancestors in our blood and bones. They'll never leave us, they'll never go. The words of ancestors, all written down in stone. No, they'll never leave us, they will never go. The words of ancestors in our blood and bones.
Out of stone, blood and bone, genetically bred for war, embedded deep in my chromosomes. Demons dashing fear, phoenixes raiding our homes. War field marshal instills martial law. Muslims chant martial law. Now blood in my veins. I'm still freeing the minds of those once shackled on their brains. Get the women and children to safety before I board the last train. Town ablaze. Master never got the last laugh. Simple and plain. Now your bingy soul burns bright. As a human being, I'm entitled to my birthright. Oppressors have to perish. Snipers focus your sight. Like Malcolm in the window. For my people, I stand and fight. Simon Phoenix here. They're signing out. Good night. Going back underground plane is just gonna take flight. High status supreme is what my name reads. Joint Chiefs of Staff, and I'm a Charlie breed. Charlie breed.
They will never leave us, no, they'll never go. The words of ancestors all written down in stone. They will never leave us. No, they'll never go. The words of ancestors in our blood and bones.
I be the light, bring sight to the door. Lord of Morocco, lightening the torch from the island of the turtle. I declare my nationality. Lord Yusuf Royal Cal L. That is apocalypse now. What? The show's over. Play Shaka. I'm in appropriate persona. Moorish American for the record. Born in Atlanta, some Exum, Northwest Gates. You hear me? Ain't no misspake, but a birthright. A day and night. Ali should be studying. Novus Riley, the prophet, but stay in deficit, indefinite. Circle seal 7 deal with stores back with banner while I'll raise the real. Stay on your square, not a sphere or a field, so you might get tripped out of shape, needing pills for bill. Cause you can't swim, flows got talent from my nation, not a challenge that they can't win. Call me cause I'm all in. Yeah, we ballin'.
Yo. They will never leave us. No, they'll never go. The words of ancestors all written down in stone. They will never leave us. No, they'll never go. The words of ancestors in our blood and bones. They'll never leave us. They'll never go. The words of ancestors all written down in stone. No, they'll never leave us. They will never go. The words of ancestors in our blood and bones.
Who them a step on from Far East to West, man. Matriarch age, man, out to be a conceal the weapon. Old faith and get strong, them a on streets for the next one. We engrave the masters, them a lock into the next one. Up next for the takeover, angels and the ancestors, import them and the breaks over. Raise up and the thing local, talk up when the thing sober. Put in for the dark years and the sun rays. It's vocal, my point to the vocal.
Lava brings through. Still they could never get us down. We meant to be around dance and praises alone. This is a warrior song, called from ancestral ground. And we will never hold back, it's just an old fact. I and I stay royal to the bone.
They will never leave us. No, they'll never go. The words of ancestors all written down in stone. They will never leave us. No, they'll never go. The words of ancestors in our blood and bones. They'll never leave us. They'll never go. The words of ancestors all written down in stone. No, they'll never leave us. They'll never go. The words of ancestors in our blood and bones.
Ancestral. Ancestral. From the ancestral ground. Yeah. From the ancestral ground.
Yo, status is first, a certificate at my birth. Made my blessing of life a curse. Going in my mom's purse and my dad's wallet. Doing things I shouldn't be doing, but I lack knowledge. No ancestral homage, only knew Tajam and Ramsey. On the other side, only knew Popeye and Granny. I learned a lot, not enough street taught me to eat by hustle and never knew the Moabites or muscle men. Only muscle men I knew lifted weights on bars. Most of my heroes from my hood looked through bars. Punchers in backs faced with scars. Told me store weed in jars. Get freedom, they just want to see stars. Saying things change when you live on a range where grown men don't act their age and act in rage as he turns life's page and welcomes change. Can't be black, that hex keeps your minds enslaved. Don't be offended when they say we not black. Wars have a status, they can't make us a stat. Might be a ball cap, not a fence we rock in Moorish. more aboriginal, I'm Moroccan. Don't be offended when we say we not black. Moors have a status, they can't make us a stack. Might be a ball cap, not a fez, we rockin'. Moorish, more aboriginal, I'm Moroccan. It's not just me, my people are tripping, playing racism and prejudice, playing the victim. Victimizing themselves, won't be responsible. Still calling Inquisition, clan, highwayman, constable, and officer. KRS-One told you overseer. Patience lost in fruition, open slap a believer. Believing when the root of believers lie. Conscious coons love to debate. I don't know why. Passing collection plates, conscious time get paid. Followers dumb, it's not where you at, but where you from. Too many mental blockages, clear you some, like phlegm on your chest. Correct your status, Moors will hear you, son, with no stress or arguments. We forever students, feel no way to dead a nuisance. Stabbed to death with facts and truth, left black and blue. Facing the corner with a gun's cap on you. Don't be offended when we say we not black. Moors have a status, they can't make us a stack. Might be a ball cap, not a fez, we rockin'. Moorish, more aboriginal, I'm Moroccan. Don't be offended when we say we not black. Moors have a status, they can't make us a stack. Might be a ball cap, not a fez, we rockin'. Moorish, more aboriginal, I'm Moroccan. Flashbacks of dead days, drinking 40s of Schlitz, fought blue paper spliffs before Bloods and Crips at CMP near telling us raise our consciousness and stop rhyming about nonsense. Gotta say thanks cause that brother was on it. If I could go back, trust that I would be on it. No sweat or regrets, though, still made it. Thanks to Allah, our ancestors were patient. Let me do my BS, escaping stars and jail bars. Drunk, putting pedal to the metal, and crash no cars. So protected, even though I neglected. Higher self all those years, lower self accepted. Finally inspected and lower self rejected like Mayday. Learned many lessons in my heyday. In many sessions, bumping Mob Deep and sniffing Wesson. Around thug life, all you hear about is weapons. From pistols to blades, Rambo or butterfly style. Pigs always shake you down cause of the gutter lifestyle. It was really preparation, nowadays for what we facing. And defending against corpse nation. Don't be offended when we say we not black. Moors have a status, they can't make us a stack. Might be a ball cap, not a fez, we rockin'. Moorish, more aboriginal, I'm Moroccan. Don't be offended when we say we not black. Moors have a status, they can't make us a stack. Might be a ball cap, not a fez, we rockin'. Moorish, more aboriginal, I'm Moroccan.
In full life, not civilly more truth. Get vexation when I'm digging up more proof. MD&N movement. We play PlayStation. Real, unreal, same anime. Full life, not civilly more truth. Get vexation when I'm digging up more proof. MD&N movement. We playing PlayStation. Real, unreal, same animation.
How I'm living, don't even ask. What I was given to complete my task. I'm moving slow, but my mind's moving fast. Wanna master ebb and flow, future, present, and the past. They say you don't need to know Allah's wisdom is too vast. Nothing to show, they wanna see what's in the stash. Can't see my growth while I've been wearing all these masks. Wanna hear a quote? First shall be last. Consider us the GOAT, true leader, walks the path. Hope you're taking notes, we do it on behalf. Don't need a vote, confidence is what I have. Chakras in my throat, express, perfect the craft. Wanna rock the boat, trying to stir up his wrath. Everything they wrote, not true, you do the math. Huh? What? You do the math. Everything they wrote, not true, you do the math.
In full life, not civilly more truth. Get vexation when I'm picking up more proof. MD&N movement. We play PlayStation. Real, unreal, same anime. In full life, not civilly more truth. Get vexation when I'm picking up more proof. MD&N movement. We playing PlayStation. Real, unreal, same anime.
Some are living in color, like the Wayans brothers. I'm living stress-free and stay giving to others. Call me credit abundant, only dead in my life, minus the degree weather in winter days and nights. I'm living prophecy, Moors with eyes wide open. Carry out the prophet's law by seeing and knowing. Man knows not by being told, I stay showing. Living by example, ancestors live through candles and drink good. Shrine cups stay empty. I'm living what I study, but not what ones tell me. willing, able, and ready. I live sturdy and steady, walking the path of life with a hero medley. Ancestral forces protecting my steps. Live life every day full, it's like there's no more left. Living it right, not wrong, and higher self, not lower self. With one life to live, you owe yourself.
In full life, not civilly, more truth. Just vexation when I'm digging up more proof. MD&N movement. We play PlayStation. Real, unreal, same anime. In full life, not civilly, more truth. Just vexation when I'm digging up more proof. MD&N movement. We playing PlayStation. Real, unreal, same anime.
Well, babe, proper person that's for life, baby. I'm Meridians to camp and I stamp first lady. Hey, they will label me crazy, cause I had the baby. Refused to give him vaccines, maybe. I've been reading up on crack use lately. Don't blame me, cause the times are up on us to take back ownership of land. Who own us? Nobody. No more, you've been knocking on the wrong door. And you rocking with the wrong core. Revisit info, reliving what's more. Ish, square encompass my forfeit. Black and white portraits remind me of why I never forfeit. Ancestors, not corpses. Third eye, open looking further than the culprit. Try to perpetuate on pulpits. I'm bringing back the force-fit. Prophet Ali never forced it.
In full life, not civilly, more truth. Get vexation when I'm digging up more proof. MD&N movement. We play PlayStation. Real, unreal, same anime. In full life, not civilly, more truth. Get vexation when I'm digging up more proof. MD&N movement. We play PlayStation. Real, unreal, same animation.
Reppin' thought? Why not? Sidelock, psilocybin until he gets homie by my side. So smooth the way this beat that I rock. American, not from Plymouth stock. Who is he that gave the key that fits the locks? We call him Sheikh Sharif Abdul Ali. Gave us the tools to help us set our minds free. From New Orleans, Mexico to Mali. He's that water in that deadly raw heat. Quench a nation, no small feat. No Euro step, no floor squeak. No disrespect to the Moorish work heat. Full crowd pack stand, sold out floor seats, but for no less than 50K. 2 right, 5 left, don't deliberate. You know we come to liberate.
In full life, not civilly, more truth. Get vexation when I'm digging up more proof. MD&N movement. We play PlayStation. Real, unreal, same anime. In full life, not civilly, more truth. Get vexation when I'm digging up more proof. MD&N movement. We play PlayStation. Real, unreal, same anime.
Try walk in my shoes and see where the journey go. You talk too rude, it's better you learn to us. It's mine too cool and I feel like to turn it up. The beats just drop, the lyrics will burn it up. I'm tied to the land like road, flag red like rose. With a green 5-star, I demand my goal. Eyes open, never find them closed. Higher self, well spoken, what my mind exposed. Living with battle scars, I don't lie about those. I'm a rebel with a cause, catch me flying by slow. Hear me level with the gods, overstand my flow. On the square with the laws, yeah, the wise man knows. The challenge jurisdiction, putting up strong resistance. The revolution here, we refuse to be the victims. Navigating L's, traveling, go the distance. I am my ancestors without doubts or contradiction.
In full life, not civilly, more truth. Get vexation when I'm digging up more proof. MD&N movement. We play PlayStation. Real, unreal, same anime. In full life, not civilly, more truth. Get vexation when I'm digging up more proof. MD&N movement. We playing PlayStation. Real, unreal, same animation. Not living cause my heart beating. This is for a law beating. Man, status first, territorial next. It's not hard, don't make it complex. Man, not living cause my heart beating. This is for a law beating. Man, status first, territorial next. It's not hard, don't make it complex. Man.
Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Movement so alive that their status can't touch this. People getting mad, we giving them more truth. Look at my face if you really need more proof. Philly T.O., still at home. Northwest, the Mexum, the lander I know. When y'all shooting sheep, opened up the booth, stepped inside, dropped a little more truth.
In full life, not civilly, more truth. Get vexation when I'm digging up more proof. MD&N movement. We play PlayStation. Real, unreal, same anime. In full life, not civilly, more truth. Get vexation when I'm digging up more proof. MD&N movement. We playing PlayStation. Real, unreal, same animation.
Don't you know we had to hop in the booth? Scoring 3 points, I got 23 on my shoe. I'm spitting fire in the booth. You know I'm sharp like a 2. They always laughing, but I know that I got nothing to lose. 5 principles, you know what they are. Love, peace, truth, freedom, and justice. All these haters can't touch us. All these lame ass niggas got me feeling too nauseous. Round me better be cautious, cause you know that I kill shit.
Pita, pata. Step up to the plate, it's time the next batter. Kundalini rising at the DJ spatter. Watch the silence at the critics. So far, them that are smooth, bringing the peace. I'm on that them scatter. You them standing on the square. I'm like circle on the scatter. More freaking old school.
Islam Wars. Here. Canaanland Moors. Canaanland Moors session. You already know how we do. We're just here. Just getting some work done because work needs to get done. People are here playing around. We're going to go over some things just to make sure you know. Can't say that you weren't told, especially from us.
I have to say it's
especially from us.
What is it about my generation or people who like purist hip hop that they don't like or don't get? What is it that they don't get about Lil Uzi Vert as an artist that they should respect and appreciate? And I ask that because, like Gucci, he's polarizing, but for different reasons.
I have to say it's so new. It's just so new. I'm almost in that same phase. I had to kind of learn to respect, the generation that come after me. Because I felt like
now the only way we're going to respect the generations that come after us is if they respect themselves. If they don't respect themselves, they're not getting any passes because they're the younger generation coming up so they could do whatever they want. They got pop pills and drink damn cough syrup and lemonade and talk about something. The hell are you talking about? One of the first lessons that we learn is not to be under any intoxicating liquors when you're talking to people. If you're going on a mic, singing a song, you're talking to people. So why you're drunk and all this stuff? Now you gotta take a swig before you go into stuff. And then you're not even like you're taking a swig of that. You're taking a swig off of some cough syrup. And I'm supposed to take these people serious? I'm supposed to hear what they're saying. They want to drink cough syrup and then go in the booth. And I'm an MC and I'm supposed to respect that because there's some new generation. FOH. The hell are you talking about? What are you talking about? And then the example that comes out of it is so crazy that I can't believe that he even said that as an example as to why I give them a pass. People are nuts.
What is it about my generation or people who like purist hip hop that they don't like or don't get? What is it that they don't get about Lil Uzi Vert as an artist that they should respect and appreciate? And I ask that because, like Gucci, he's polarizing, but for different reasons.
I have to say it's so new. It's just so new. I'm almost in that same phase. I had to kind of learn to respect, the generation that come after me. Because I felt like what we doing, it meant so much, or it cost us more. Like, I'm a producer. I was just talking about this on a panel yesterday. I'm a producer that in my studio, I got drum machines, I got keyboards, I got sound modules. I do all this to create music. When another producer can bring a laptop with nothing, no keyboard or nothing, and just start clicking buttons and make a beat. And it's almost like you almost want to downplay what he's doing because, like, bro, anybody can do that. Right? Like, you cheating. But at the same time, anybody can do that. Yeah. So it's like it's you have to respect that. You gotta respect it, and it's working. Right. So when you got guys like Lil Uzi Vert or all the young guys, because like my son, the one turned me on to all the young guys. Like he don't. How old your son now? He's 13. Okay. So he want to tell me who he's supposed to work with. He know the hot shit. He know, like, okay, Dad, that's cool you doing, but you need to work with this person. Yeah. And when I listen to the person, it's like, man, that's who you like. That's what you like. Right. But then I have to really sit down and listen to these people. And then when I go work with them, I find a whole new respect for them.
Yeah, right. This guy who's whack, who has no social commentary whatsoever. And if they do have some social commentary, it's nothing that's going to change the minds of these people out here, because these people go to a concert and they do a concert for 1 million people. And if you're doing a concert for 1 million people and all you're singing about is BS, then that's what's going to be taken from the concert. And then if that's taken from the concert, then how come nobody doesn't want to talk about, NWA going on stage and want to sing F the police and all that stuff, and they can't do it? Why can't they sing that song? What's the problem? You let people sing about Percocets and pop mollies and take a girl in the whatever, and you let them rhyme about all types of BS while they're getting pushed, sanctioned, authority, whatever, from, maybe people in the golden era or whatever, who are talking about, that's some new thing, so we're just gonna let that get its play because the new generation, and we just let them. Yeah, right. I'm the one that's dealing with you people's crazy children that you don't want to deal with because you want them to have their own way and you don't want to instill any discipline, and they can just do what they want just because they're a younger generation and they don't have to. We're not talking about transition from 8-track to CD or something like that. We're talking about the minds of people. We know that when some type of quote unquote racial whatever situation happen, you don't go out there and go kill somebody. You go home and you play that song that you know is gonna let you get your frustration out. You have some police situation, you go home, you play F the police loud and don't care who hears it, and you blast it loud. Because you're not gonna be running up on no highwayman to go pop him one for giving you a ticket. Like, the music today has people being dumbasses. Have a belt on, but your pants is under your ass, but you have a belt on. You tell me you don't look like a dumbass? You have a belt on, but your pants is under your ass, which the purpose of a belt is to keep your pants above your ass. But nah, that's new generation stuff. That's how they want or whatever. So it's all right. How's that all right? How's that getting a pass? How is it that that's getting a pass? By people who are supposed to be, Talib is Black Star. That's on level of Public Enemy and X-Clan and stuff like that. Talk about it's okay, wear pants off the ass and drink scissor and do madness. Like you're saying that's okay. You're really saying that it's all right. And again, you can't use the example of the guy's going to come with a computer and do the same thing that the guy with all this whatever is going to do, because even if the guy comes with just a computer, he's going to have a different sound than the guy who has all the stuff. And then that guy is not going to have as great a sound as a band could give you. Don't tell me about the BS about condoning BS, because if somebody came in a computer and their beats were whack, you would tell them FOH with your damn computer and go back to doing beats on your stuff that you know the good sounded quality stuff is going to come from, the equipment. Telling me about because a guy could come with a computer and make a beat, I'm going to respect that because I have all this stuff and he's doing the same thing I could do just with a computer. Why is that a big deal? Isn't that the purpose of a computer? What's the purpose of a laptop if it's not to, instead of sitting at the desk doing whatever, typing a letter to somebody. I could be on the train typing the letter to somebody. I gotta sit at the desk. What you mean? And it's technology. Why wouldn't you be able to make a beat on a computer now and not need all the stuff? It ain't no different than when we used to record on reels and you couldn't make a mistake or whatever like that because you're paying for studio time by the hour and then the reel and then all the work that has to go into whatever. You gotta make sure your stuff's tight. And then you come into the computer era now where you got the desk and the stuff, whatever like that. You know reels. Make a mistake, we could do this 500 million times until you get it right. Which again, that also takes away from the art because your stuff's supposed to be tight, right? You went in the booth and then you're taking 500 hours to record something when you're supposed to be master at this. If you're in the booth, you're not in the booth because you just started rhyming yesterday. So they're playing this past stuff because somebody's a younger generation, give them a pass. No. You have to go through the gauntlet before you get any type of honors and respect around here. Why? Because we had certain training. When this stuff was all crashed and done for, and people came out and said hip hop is dead and put down the rose and stuff like that, there was still an element that recognized that you can't kill the foundation. It's not really hip hop. Like you trace that back, it's blues and jazz and stuff like that. Those stuff had hip hop beats before hip hop. It's not hip hop. Not the hip hop generation is no. This is the foundation. Just in a new era of time. But what we're seeing is not part of the growth of the era of time of this music called hip hop. Somebody infiltrated and messed this stuff the hell up. We're to the point where we're giving passes to whack shit. When whack stuff couldn't get, whack guy couldn't get any play back in the day. Whack guy got no play, zero. You're whack, you don't get nothing. No, we don't want to hear it. Don't even put it, you can't even put it in the deck if it's whack. Matter of fact, give me that. Just send that across the damn street. Because whack, no passes. No passes. We were given lessons by certain people who knew what was up, been there, done that, and said, F that. That over there, I'm not even going in that world. I'm going to go over here and put some attention on something else. But, I'm not losing the stuff, I mean? We still give honors to the craft. We still give honors to the ones who laid it down so we can have something that I can still put in something and say, yes, we got something that we could play still. Instead of having to be forced. Remember, this is 1984, being forced to listen to something because people took certain things out of circulation so you don't have access to it. And the only way you're going to have it now is if you kept records and if you kept old tapes and CDs or whatever. It's the only way you have anything from back then now. Because guarantee, you put in the digitized version of anything back then, sound is not the same. You're not going to get the same vibe that you got when you listened to it the first time because they messed with the frequency of it. And they messed with the frequency of it to the point where the frequency has people's thoughts distorted, where they were giving passes to whack stuff and letting whack stuff go through without having to do the gauntlet. Gauntlet for everybody. You have to prove your self-worth, not just getting passes. Because you're a black star, we're going to give you a pass that, oh yeah, well, because he's, we'll just let him say whatever and let whoever come on his platform because it's the People's Party. So because that's the people's stuff and he's representative of the people. No, he's not representative. No, sorry. I'm not African and none of that stuff. Oh, Moor. Yassine is representative for me more than Talib Kweli. And both of them were Black Star. And then both of them were Black Star. And one of them said, I'm a Moor now. And said, stop calling me most deaf and all that stuff. And he getting called by Yassine Bey. Doesn't that mean this works? Doesn't that mean Moorish nationality is a real thing? Because if one guy's still Black, Negro, African, doesn't matter if you wear pants off your ass guy. And the other guy is saying Jalabia and Circle 7 and Turban and Love, Truth, Peace, Freedom, and Justice and Scimitar in the back of his show on the wall and all that type of stuff, then obviously a transition was made away from the BS by a prominent individual who not only did music, he was in movies too. And now he's in an art gallery. And he's saying Bay. And you guys playing dumb still? Or you guys playing dumb? Are you playing like you don't know the lessons? Okay, let's just refresh you guys because you guys don't know. You guys forgot the lessons. So let's just refresh you. Just so you're familiar. Right? Hip hop decoded by the Black Dot. Never heard of it. Sorry. Don't want to be you in these times without you having this. If you never have this and never read this or never even heard of the Black Dot and never even watched anything of his, sorry for you right now, going through all this madness that you don't know how to deal with. Because you know that it's messed up. You know that it's whack, but you're giving it a pass and you're not questioning yourself like, damn, how come I like this song? This song is whack. Why am I singing this song all the time? But this song is whack. You're just going to go with it. You're not going to, even though you realize, even though you know, the past 5 times you stub your foot on that barbell because you want to do the workout stuff and all. So, okay, well, yeah, the dumbbell's there. And dumbbell stubbed his toe on the dumbbell 5 times before that. And you still don't think it's time to move this thing so you don't stub your toe anymore? Okay, fine. You keep stubbing your toe. That's on you. We're getting to the point of seeing the stuff and moving it so you don't stub your toe in the first place. We're seeing into the future. And then that's because that's how we were brought up. People already saw this BS happening. That again, you just pick somebody that has a little on their name. They're the new savior of some hip hop, whatever. Then some other guy, and he's the new whatever. And some girl, and now she's the new whatever for some singing whatever. And everybody is saying, yes, this is taking off because we've had saviors come and they did what they're supposed to do. And yes, we have black music and all this BS. FOH. People have played you. You don't even know that you've been played. So we're going to go back, hip hop decoded, to show you how you've been played. The world has been waiting for a savior, a chosen one to lead the people. It's important that we understand that this is nothing more than a program designed by the Matrix for control purposes. In fact, out of all the programs that the Matrix has ever written, it's the system's oldest and most important one. From politics to religion, everything is predicated and based upon a system of a chosen one who is destined to lead us. From presidents who govern our physical lives to Christ-like figures who govern our spiritual lives. We are frozen in time until we receive divine instructions on how to move forward in this journey called life. It's the ultimate control program. As we further examine the term chosen one, the first question we ask is, who is really doing the choosing? And since we live in a world of duality, is there an evil one and a good one? Or are they one and the same, just different degrees of each other? Could the one be converted from one to the other? Could the chosen one, who we thought was our savior, actually have been sent here by the matrix to lead us to slaughter? The Bible warned against worshiping of false prophets. If we study how the matrix uses control to rule the world, we can begin to see the parallels of how this relates to the world of hip-hop. One is the macrocosm, while the other is the microcosm. Yet both are controlled by the same source. Both exist within the same time and space, yet time and space are illusions. So it's one's perception of such that will make it simple or complex on how worlds can exist within worlds. Once you have been chosen, the matrix owns you for life. The game must end in destruction because your demise equals its happiness. The game must end in destruction because your demise equals its happiness. You not taking the position of seeing destruction, knowing that destruction is about to happen because destruction is coming through, and not doing anything about it, giving destruction the pass to go destroy stuff, especially the minds of people who we know are supremely in this place of wanting something or someone or whatever to save them. And they would never look within and save themselves. And you're going to take the position of keeping these people in that state of victimization by telling them it's all right to be whack. You could dye your hair all types of different colors and wear dresses and stuff like that. That's all right. That's you guys' generation. You could do what you want. No, none of that. None of that. Sorry. Sorry. Michael Jordan hit the last shot of his illustrious career against Utah and walked away from the game a winner. He defeated the Matrix, or so he thought. A few years later, he was back, but this time he left the game as a straight loser. He couldn't even get part ownership of a system that he helped build. When you feel that you are bigger than the very system that created you, it must destroy you. Just look at Michael Jackson. How dare he curse his maker? Based on the chosen one's mission and how valuable he is to the source that created him, he is afforded certain levels of protection, matrix, sanctioned, chosen ones, or otherwise. Have you ever wondered why it seems that some rappers, hip-hop moguls, and other high-profile figures have free reign to do as they please? They can commit crimes, which others are charged for. Or, if they are charged, they always seem to beat them, no matter how severe. They walk around like they own the world. Not even the police can touch them. A chosen one is only as powerful as the unseen forces that protect him. Many of your favorite rappers are protected by unseen forces, so powerful you couldn't imagine in your wildest dreams secret society type forces that have nothing to do with hip hop per se, but have more to do with mind control and quote unquote food management. Your favorite rapper has been chosen knowingly or unknowingly to help complete this task. Many of them drop hints of the forces that protect them by the names of their organizations, their lyrics, products that they endorse, and the people that they associate with. Each chosen one is assigned a vibration frequency that he or she can operate within. As long as they stay within their vibration frequency, they're safe. Right? Again, going back to quote unquote Black Star, where soon as he said he's Yassine Bey, now he can't cross borders and stuff like that. He's getting held up because can't get back in the country because he didn't have whatever documentation or whatever. What do you mean? When he was nigger, you guys didn't care. He went all around the world when he was nigger. He wasn't a threat. When he was calling himself a fiction. So how come he's a threat now that he's saying Bay? All of a sudden he's a threat now? Obviously he wasn't a chosen one. Dave Chappelle, another one. Obviously he wasn't a chosen one. Even though Martin wore the dress, he still wasn't the chosen one. But there's chosen ones, knowingly or unknowingly, that are around right now. And why are they around? To use that vehicle of hip hop to keep you under the dead status without you even knowing that that's what they're doing. Because where you hear that more than anywhere else, that dead status amongst these so-called woke whoever's, that they're black and powerful and all this BS. When we know all these people got the lessons and they know what's up. And if you have to ask yourself, why are they playing games then? Why are they playing games? Right? For example, there was something else relative. Where's this? We have to look at it from all different angles, because there's even chosen ones who are jump shipping and they know what's going on, but some people are too far in, and and the little bit that they try to do, you just have to look at it like they're trying to send a message from the long lost world of whatever, where they're telling you don't come here, but don't worry, I'll send messages out so you can know what's going on and be your little spook at the door. Islam to Mantis views 29. That's where I got this one from. Jay-Z goes to bat for Mississippi prisoners and files federal lawsuit. The rap mogul had warned Mississippi officials he was prepared to pursue all potential avenues. Rap mogul Jay-Z sued the head of the Mississippi Department of Corrections and the warden of the state penitentiary Tuesday on behalf of 29 prisoners who say the two officials have done nothing to stop the violence that has left 5 inmates dead in the past 2 weeks. 29 prisoners, you know. Remember, he came with the 4 stuff then. Okay. These deaths are a direct result of Mississippi's utter disregard for the people it has incarcerated and their constitutional rights, according to the lawsuit, which was filed by Jay-Z's lawyer, Alex Spiro. So it's not some Jay-Z whatever, because he has a lawyer. This is a Jay-Z lawsuit. He wouldn't need no lawyer to go file it. He would just go file it himself because he had the Circle 7 chain and stuff like that. So he must know what's up. You know, where the chain, you already know Gods and Earths knew about Noble Drew Ali because he was in their literature. You know they knew about Noble Drew Ali. You know their stuff is a 7 in a circle with a star. So that's Moorish. Whatever lessons they want to tell you about or whatever, that's their business. But what I see, that's Moorish. Because they ain't no gods, they ain't no earths. It's only the nation. And the only nation of all these Asiatics is the Moorish nation. And dude had the chain. And nobody didn't come out and set out no public address about, no, he can't wear that chain because he's not here and he never came to his classes and all that stuff. Nobody said anything. So we're going with that. He had the stuff. So if he has stuff, he knows. But you know, I already know people get in deep or whatever. So now he has lawyer, attorney, whatever. Right? It names as defendants DOC Commissioner Felicia Hall and Mississippi State Penitentiary Superintendent Marshall Turner. We cannot treat people this way, and it's time to do something about it. Spiro of the Quinn, Emanuel, Urquhart and Sullivan LLP law firm said in a statement on NBC News. The Mississippi Department of Corrections replied to an ABC News request for comment by saying it does not discuss pending litigation. The lawsuit comes on the heels of a letter dated January 9th that Spiro sent to Hall and Mississippi Governor Phil Bryant on behalf of Jay-Z and hip-hop artists Yo Gotti, Mario Mims, protesting the inhumane conditions in prisoners operated by Mississippi Department of Corrections. Spiro said they were prepared to pursue all potential avenues to obtain relief for the people living in Mississippi's prisons and their families. Now, that is a notice to sue. Obviously, they didn't reply. So now they have a lawsuit on them. It's not something special. It's not something Moorish. That's just what you do. You give somebody a letter of intent to sue. I'm going to sue your ass if you don't stop whatever it is that you're doing. They didn't stop doing whatever they're doing. All right. Next thing you're going to get is a lawsuit. And that's that. It's not simple. It's not a package that somebody can sell you how to sue. It's basic. This unthinkable spat of deaths is the culmination of years of severe understaffing and neglect at Mississippi prisons, Spiro's letter reads. As Mississippi has incarcerated increasing numbers of people, it has dramatically reduced its funding of prisons. As a result, prison conditions fail to meet even the most basic human rights. Now, why would it meet human rights if everybody in there is a number? If everybody in there is a number, the lawsuit shouldn't be talking about the conditions of the prison. The lawsuit should be talking about the misclassifications of the people in there so they can be in those conditions. Because if they call them humans, they wouldn't have a problem. These people are going to have to do stuff by the book. But they're not dealing with humans. And then the Constitution, which is the argument that they're going to make, the Constitution says, you know, that once you're a voluntary slave, then you're a slave. Like, what do you want? Human rights don't apply to slaves. And it's not like we're doing something. They volunteered to be here. Yeah, well, you know, when we pulled him over, he had a license. Or when we caught him, he had a birth certificate. Or when we whatever him, he had a document that puts him in our jurisdiction because that's our document. And now we own them. But no, it's not going to be sued for that. You know. And then, you know, Mississippi is not the only prison. This is what I say about, you know, this can't be from some perspective of trying to help the whatever. Because if you do that, you sue all the prisons in every state. Well, you got the finance to do it. Why are you only suing the Mississippi's prisons? How come every prison wasn't, because all of them are the same jurisdiction, Department of Corrections or whatever. So why don't you just sue Department of Corrections? Why are you suing the prison? Because somebody's sanctioning them to be in this position as a prison. Like, why just there? Why not all the prisons? Because pretty sure all the prisons suck. I don't think you're going to go to some prison and prisoners going to be telling you about, oh yeah, it's great here or whatever. All of them have issues. Let's talk about one. All right, sure, you can talk, but because you are who you are, some ways and finance on BS. How about sue some of these child services people taking people's children? How about sue them for the same thing, misclassification of people, putting them in the jurisdiction where they don't have remedy, unless the Mogul rap guy comes and gives them remedy, going back to the whole thing about who's the chosen one, where they come from. Who chose them? Okay, they're the chosen one. Sue a prison, great. Who chose you? Who said you? And why that law firm? And then who's all those other people in that law firm? Because all of them sound like Europeans. And then they took the bar and stuff like that. That means they really work for Europe. And so they're not even going to cross certain lines. They're just going to talk stuff. You're violating people's constitutional rights because human beings have a right. But you're not going to argue that these people aren't human beings because they've been misclassified as numbers. Anybody who writes anybody in prison knows that when they go in there, you're not getting the letter to them unless you put the number. Okay, so the number is really what identifies them, not their name. Because there could be 20 John Smiths in prison. If there's 20 John Smiths in prison, then the number is what is actually being used to identify John Smith. It's not his name. So he's not a human. He's a number. If he's a number, that means it's property. If he's property, he doesn't have rights, which is why prison could be, you know, left to run however it's running because no rights don't apply there. Real simple. But nah, they want to play their little game. They want to play their little game with you. Don't let them play no games with you. Please don't let them play games with you. Don't let them come and chat and play games. Don't you see them just say some BS online and then you just let them say that BS? None of that. Question and challenge everything. Question and challenge everything. Right? Because it's only right that you do. It's only right that you do. Question everything. Right? Don't take it for Don't take it for, face value that it is what it is. Don't take it for face value that it is what it is. All right? Don't take it like that. Fact check everything. Fact check everything. Right? So, Mr. Swiddle Hoodwinked asked, who was the most famous Moor in history? Who was the famous Moor in history? What does it matter? Point is that he's a Moor, and why aren't you one? If you know that there's a famous Moor in history, then why are you Negro, black, colored, or whatever you call yourself? Why are you Swindle, Hoodwinked, and not Eller Bay? That's your answer. Who's the famous Moor in history? The hell does it matter? You know who the famous Moor in history is? Who the hell, what the hell does it matter? Oh, what's your nationality? Right. Oh, speaking about, and then he had another one. Well, this cat is on the Moroccan flag and saying he's a Moor? Yeah, interestingly, today we did our solstice walk where on every gate we do something in order to impress upon the universe Moorish culture, Moorish unity, Moorish fezzes, Moorish turbans, Moorish flags, just Moorish. So we're on the walk today and just walking. Pale Arab comes up. Hey, are you Moroccan? Yeah, we're Moroccan. And all this time he's pointing at the fez, Yes, Morocco, Morocco. I'm like, yeah, Morocco, we're Moroccan. You're from Morocco? Yeah, I'm from Morocco. Maghreb Al-Aqsa. Morocco here. Ah, yes, America, Morocco. Yes. And then Turnabout went about his business. No, you don't get those stuff wearing baseball hats and all that. You don't get that. Having a, 360 waves in your head and stuff like that. You don't get that. They saw us in fezzes and stopped us. Just to verify what they already know. Because obviously we know. Because they weren't doing that to any other Negroes that were passing by. They weren't running up to them and say, oh, New York hat, you from New York? They don't even give a shit. But they saw, quote unquote, black people with fezzes on. Now they're running up and they want to say stuff. And then they're saying stuff that we are trying to convince our people. And then he's not even from here, pale Arab, can't even speak English properly. And he's telling me about, yeah, Morocco's over here in America. And you still think that this is some game. All right. So then the Moors pulled out the flag. Moors called it on themselves that, hey, you need to have a flag right now. All right, Moor went in the back, pulled out the flag. Now 2 Moors have the flag, they're walking. Pale Moroccan comes up. Hey, you have my flag. Moor's like, yeah, our flag. It's like, yeah, my flag. Like, no, our flag. Like, your flag? What do you mean your flag? Oh yeah, it's Morocco. Huh? Oh, how old are you? You're younger, huh? You don't know the history about your flag, do you? All right, have a good day, bye, whatever like that. They're all about their business. And then the other one, where are you from? Egypt. Oh, you mean Kemet? Just looking at them. Just looking at them more. Just looking at them more. You mean Kemet, right? Kemet. Walk off. So this cat flying American flag and saying he's a Moor? Damn right. Because America is Morocco. So this is the flag of this land. The red flag with the 5 green pointed star. That, whether we got this star, whether we got overlapping star, whether you got bold star, doesn't matter. All of it is the Moroccan flag. Is a 5-point green star in there with a red? That's Moroccan flag. Yeah, but the stars doesn't have the. Well, there's not the. Well, how come the star has star 5 points on it? Yeah. Okay, what? 5-point green star in the center. What more you need to know? What more speculations you need to come up with? Oh, you're waiting for a chosen one to come tell you that the star is supposed to be, oh my gosh, the chosen one for the Moors. Well, I thought Noble Drew was the. You talking about some Moor came and told you what Noble Drew really meant, and that's the chosen one now. Stop the BS. Our flag, the Moorish flag, red flag, 5-point green star. If you're a Moor, this is your flag. I don't care where you're at. When Italians come to Toronto, you think they're not flying Italian flag? This isn't Italy. Why are they flying flag here? Because that's their culture, that's their flag, that's their heritage, that's their lineage. Oh, so they'll fly their flag. I'm not arguing with them about why they're flying a flag. As soon as more start flying our flag, people want to mad. People want to have something to say. Oh, that's not the flag. You guys tell NOI nothing about their banner that they're posing with as a flag. Nobody never ever once said, hey, that can't be a flag of Islam, because not everybody who is part of Islam is part of that nation. So obviously, and they have their own flag. And even though they say that they're Islam, but nobody ever said anything. Let them do whatever they want with their banner. Stars and stripes, same thing. People coming around to the flag, salute the flag, and the anthem's playing, raise the flag, and all that stuff. And then stuff is saying that it's a banner. If stuff's saying that it's a banner, and then you're calling on a flag, who's the dumbass? These people play you out your stuff. That's all they're about. Play you out your stuff. That's all they want to do. Play you out of your stuff. Have you think everything except what this really is. Have you convinced that this is everything that it's not? Why? Because you're looking for some chosen one. No chosen one coming. Ain't nobody coming. Like, no, there's no one. Nobody's on the way. It's over. Unless you save yourself. You don't want to save yourself? All right, cool. It's all good. You know what I mean? We got our birthright. So when we're looking at Moors, we already told you, nobody beats the Moors. You know, you gotta go, grab the hand to save you out of the stuff, and then you grab the rubber hand. because you're a dumbass. You don't deserve to be saved. We're going to save you, and then you're going to come up here and still do nigger stuff, even after we saved you. And we know this. There's Moors that we saved that they still do nigger stuff. And they don't want to give honors to the Moors that saved them already. Then they go by the same stuff again, and they get saved again. They still go do BS again. Don't get mad when you get the rubber hand. Man, don't get mad if the stuff just thrown to you and you're just told, hey, fend for yourself, here's the stuff. Because all we're responsible for is making sure the young ones get this information, that they're inspired to be who their ancient foremothers and forefathers were, and to rid this place of dirties. People whose every intention is to play this little game of, you know, we're Moors, but I mean we're Moors, but what? I mean, shouldn't do something. This is birthrights. This is birthrights. This is a right from birth that you have. If somebody wants to take that right and be a dumbass with it, that's their right. There's no effect on me because that's a Moor. I don't do dumbass stuff. So if that guy's doing dumbass and he has a fez on doing dumbass stuff and you're looking at me like, oh, well, that's a Moor that did that. Yeah, that's a Moor that did that, but it's also a Moor who's talking to me, telling me about some dumbass. So you and that person is pretty much the same category. You and that Moor that you're looking at talking about, well, I don't want to be a Moor because Moors get arrested. Your dumbass questioning stuff is a Moor too. And at least that Moor over there who's dirty, at least he knows he's a Moor. Just has the big kahunas. If he's going to be a jackass with the Moorish birthright, if you're a Moor, you know what this is. You're going to be a dumbass? Shit. You definitely know something that I don't know. Because I know how Allah does. Be dumbass with this? After I was dumbass being Negro black colored and got away with everything? I'm going to come into this and be a dumbass? Yeah. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Right. The fuss is about so-called unstudied Moors with Negro black colored mindsets coming out here bringing their victimization and trying to put it on everybody else because they're too scared to exist as a Moor. They're scared to exist as a Moor because they know that once you start saying that you're a Moor, these people throw the hammer down on you because they know you know. And you know what nobody else is supposed to know. That's why Yassine Bey got what he got. Because they already know if they let him go back and forth using a world passport, that he's going to talk about it. Because he's Yassine Bey. Everybody knows him. So let's just shoot him down quick, fast. Shoot down that world passport and all that stuff. Let's just shoot that down quick, fast. So nobody even considers getting one of these to try to go across some border, even though people have been doing it for the past 10, 15, 20 years. And they have the stamps in the passport to show that they've been everywhere with it. Let's shut this down. Because if we let him get too far, we know that he's going to talk about it. And we can't afford to have him talk about it. Can't afford it. Because they already stopped calling him most deaf, so we're pretty much already in a pickle. We're gonna have problems. We're definitely gonna have problems. We are going to have problems. Now, you have these Johnny-come-latelys that like to make videos telling you Johnny-come-latelys. Oh yeah, by the way, don't forget to go to Khalifa Media. Don't forget to go to Khalifa Media and you can get your hardcover Qurans now. The Holy Quran of the Moorish Holy Temple of Science, divinely prepared by the Prophet Noble Jawali, khalifamedia.com. You can get your hardcover Holy Quran. Right? You know, we have the pocket one, and you know, and this is the same one that we got from the link that brother, the good brother Tallahassee El Bay was doing some studying online, and he came across this Quran that somebody was selling that belonged to their uncle or granddad or something like that, that was in the temple. So we have the original at the museum, at the Moorish Science Temple Museum out here. But there's the signature of whoever the stuff it was in there and who they left it to. Right. So that's at khalifamedia.com. Honors to the mother. Once again, mother doing it. You know what I mean? Honors to mother over at khalifamedia.com for making us look sharp. Making us look sharp. Because it matters. It matters. Right? The Holy Quran hardcover. Oh yeah, and then don't forget, you can go there and also pick up Moors in America, because the people calling themselves Moors in America, they're imposters. You know they're imposters. Please. I'm just running a class right now. Right till 7. 7 a little after 7. Yeah, like 7:30 or something like that. All right, peace. All right, go get the Moors in America book. Because the imposters that are saying Moors in America, they went and took our Hulk smash picture. And now they're on Instagram or whatever with our Hulk smash picture talking about their Moors in America. When we know Moors in America came from khalifamedia.com years ago when they wrote the book. They bit that. We're the only ones that rep some Hulk smash. Now they took our Hulk smash now, and they're going around parading around with the Hulk smash. Hulk with the green 5-point star on the chest. You already know that's the Hulk smash. But this is what it's about when you have the imposter chosen ones. Because the only one that should be chosen is yourself. Someone else shouldn't be the chosen one that's gonna whatever for you. That's why we tell people, don't be followers of anybody. We know why. That's why we're telling you, don't. Because we already know why. Again, they're going to have this ability because of the new age and the generation before. Noble Drew Ali said eyes wide open, and then closed eyes people are coming around talking about that they're Moors. And they could teach somebody something. And that they have it right. And then whoever's been doing it for the past 15 years, they're wrong. When we're on 10 years and we're saying, where's everybody from last year? We're on 10 years. We're on 10 years. The last year guy is coming up and saying something and people taking them serious, liking and sharing stuff. 5,000 people listening to somebody talk some BS, and then slick this the foundation to try to make it appear like, yeah, they're on the side of righteousness, but they weren't on the side of righteousness 15 years ago. While righteousness was doing what it was doing, they were non-existent. Now they're existent. They're telling people, don't worry about righteousness that's been going on for the past 15 years. Hear what we're saying. This is where it's at right now. What we say is where it's at. And again, all they got to do is play, because they know exactly what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing. Without doubt or contradiction, they know what they're doing.
You shouldn't be talking about that stuff either, right? It should be beneath us, man. And then it's especially, like, you're talking about right to travel. Come on, man. You don't have bigger and better things to do? Really? That's what you're standing on? Come on. So, I don't want to clown people, but if they're standing on that stuff, it needs to be exposed so that the real meat, the real work, the real foundation that we stand on and what needs to be done can be brought to the forefront. Okay? Because I don't like seeing and hearing more the Constitution. Like, did you come late to the discussion? What are you talking about? Right to travel? You think Noble Drew Ali was all about right to travel? Like, look, I'm gonna tell you the caliber of people that were in the temple then. You had Jesse Binger. He owned a bank. He actually had a bank. Asiatic owned bank. He had several properties. Okay, you had shot callers in the temple, not broke down people who's trying to get over.
Right. What shot callers you talking about? Anybody who was in the temple during Noble Drew Ali's time, there weren't no shot callers or whatever. We ran everything. Everybody had something. Madam C.J. Walker wasn't no part of some whatever. She had stuff locked down. That's just her. That's what every other Asiatic was doing. That they can actually pay whatever she says the charges. There was no shot call or whatever. Everybody was getting their piece. Why was everybody getting their piece? Why was it that we were able to have Black Wall Street and whatever? Because we were free people. We didn't have anybody in our pocket telling us taxes and coming over and putting yellow stuff on the car and saying ticket and you need to pay and talking about child support and all that stuff. There was none of that going on. That was only going on the plantations where the slaves are at. But what happened? Those people who were in those positions after Noble Drew Ali died, They went back to be a nigger. They didn't keep on going on with what was going on. After they deported Garvey, they went back to be a nigger. They didn't live up to the standard that they gave an obligation to live up to. When they declared that they knew who they were and they were no longer Negro and they weren't slave, they dropped the ball. Again, because they didn't see the savior was them. They're looking at this man, he's the savior, because it said so in the literature. When all the saviors before him said greater people are going to come and do greater things than we are doing. So obviously they're not the savior. You are. But they don't want you to know that. They don't want you to think that you saving yourself is why you're going to go out there and be yourself and not have a license. What crime is there in that? You're going to go out there, be yourself, and not have to bend over for these people who are colonists in your land. You're going to stand on your right. And again, these are the people who are not outside of the temple with their fez. Only when there's an event. They're just like Shriners. Only when they're doing a parade, they're going to wear the fez outside in the street. Other than that, that's limited to the temple. Now, you're not wearing your fez outside. The people who want to, keep the Moorish, whatever, so that it's not seen because, we're a threat to the system. So you want to, no, we're not a threat to the system. The system is threatened by us knowing that we're Moors, but we're not a threat to the system. This is our system. Are we a threat to our own stuff? Only if we're incompetent are we a threat to our own stuff. But if we're competent, then there's no issue. And remember, they're making this thing like it's about a right to travel argument. It's not about a right to travel argument. It's about a driver's license fraud argument. The fraud is of the driver's license, which is why right to travel comes up. This is not a right to travel thing. This is a corrupt government thing. So right to travel comes up. Because these people know that in order for you to willingly give them power of attorney over your car that you bought with your finances, you have to register. That's a game. Why? Because you have to pay to do that. What? Don't you pay taxes? If you're paying taxes, then why you have to pay to register your stuff? Shouldn't that be part of the taxes that you pay? Oh no, because the taxes is for separate stuff. And then so if the tax for separate stuff, then where are they justifying charging finance for anything else if it's not taxes? It's all a big racket. But if you're not calling it a racket, if you want to call it, Highway Traffic Act, whatever, and Ministry of Transportation and Department of Motor Vehicles and all that, and you want to call it that instead of what it is, then you deal with that. Don't discredit, because we know Moors with licenses. So it's not like license is something that we can't deal with. It's not like license is something we can't deal with. But Moors know, Moors who study know that the license is how they stop your movement. Because if you live die hard by this thing called a license, that even though it says driving on it, they want to see that if you're navigating a boat. They don't want to see a fisher's license when you're navigating a boat. They want to see a driver's license, at least out here. When the water police pull you over out here, and I know people with boats, they ask you for a license that says driving on it, not fishing or boating or whatever. Now, how is it that I'm in a boat and they want a driver's license? And then I'm not questioning the audacity of that. And then if we do question it, you have some people over here that are talking about, why are you questioning that? This is the supreme law of the land, that you have to have a license and all, talking crazy. There's not no natural law that you have to have a license. That's created. That's man-made law. You're not supposed to follow that. If you say that Allah is the father of the universe and all that stuff, you following man-made stuff. If you follow the man-made thing and you're calling that the supreme law, then where's the Constitution play? If the law is have a license, obviously you're not enforcing the Constitution. If a Moor is telling you, just follow the law, have a license, have a passport, it's a fundamental right to liberty. Look up liberty. See what liberty means. And then pluralize that, because they always talk about liberties. And think about how many things are encompassed within liberty. And ask me if you going from place A to B, regardless of how you get there, is under liberties. Again, people keep talking about the issue like that's the issue. The issue is not right to travel. That's a ploy when people say that. When people bring up right to travel, that means they work with the colonists. Because for them to be defending driving and licenses, which are colonial instruments, means that they work with the colonists. Like we say, we know Moors who have right to travel cards. And they use a license because they engage in commerce. They know what it is. They don't use a license for identification. But if they're engaging in commerce, then they have a license. It's not a big deal to have a license if you know what it is that you're doing. But if you just want to go buy some milk around the corner, it's a blizzard, and you just got the winter tires and stuff like that, you're never going to slid, crash, or anything like that. You don't want to walk because, conveyance is sitting there. You could be warm and just go around the corner. Gas is in it, all the lights work and all that stuff. And then you going around the corner, they pull you over. How you doing, sir? How's the night going or whatever? Yeah, just going around the corner to get some milk or whatever like that. All right, you got a license? No, I don't got a license, but I got a right to travel card right here because I'm Aboriginal and Indigenous and I don't have licenses. He knows what that is. Don't listen to these people telling you about they don't know what that is and that's why Moors get arrested and all that crazy talk. They know what that is. They know what it is. They're supposed to go back to their car, call the station or whatever. Hi, supervisor guy, just let you know I just stopped one of these Moors or whatever. I'm just going to write down, you know, the information on the thing, and I'm going to send him on his way. Yep, no problem, 10-4. And call back to the car. Hi, sir, here's your documentation. This one, you know, we're just checking or whatever because, you know, there have been stolen cars around here or whatever. And, you know, but everything panned out. You're good. Have a good night. And that's that. And goes about his business. The only way it doesn't work like that is if you're dealing with colonial powers who don't have any respect for rights. But because they don't respect rights doesn't mean you don't stand for them. Because you know that every time you exercise a right, there's going to be hassles. That doesn't mean don't exercise the right. Because that's called assimilation. And only slaves do that. And you can't tell me you're a Moor, but then you're assimilating with the city in order to get a proclamation or whatever. Or you can't tell me that you're a Moor and you have a national flag and it's the Moorish flag and all that stuff. But then when I go into a jurisdiction to file some paperwork, they're not going to accept any paperwork unless it's from these people who they sanctioned and gave proclamations to and said that they're the Moors. Somebody's playing games. Because this is a fundamental birthright that you get at birth. Nobody can sanction it. As soon as it's starting to be sanctioned, colonial powers are in place. But even if colonial powers are in place, that does not mean you be a passive Moor. That does not mean you be a religiousized Moor and you don't be active at all. All you do is pray and sing hymns to Noble Drew Ali and that's it. No way. And this is where these people are going. Making the right be the issue, when the right is not the issue. The violation of the right and the acts that are taken or written into power to violate those rights is the problem. The right is not the problem. The right to live anywhere freely is not the problem. People escheating property under the guise of government when they're just private corporations that are colonial, that have a mandate of rape and pillage is the problem. As long as the people don't realize that this is theirs and the only way they're going to have anything is if they create it, then the BS continues. Which is why, again, Drew Ali said there's only going to be a handful saved and have fingers left over. You know, like you can hold something like this, you know, but you want to get the thumb in there. So if you lose the pinky and you hold something with just these three, or if you lose the ring finger and then you hold something, these, you just have a stubby there for the ring finger or the middle finger, stubby. You're not really going to be able to hold too much. So if it's only a handful, say, with fingers left over, there's going to be barely anything in the hand. Because remember, the handful, it's not like you got two hands and you're doing the cut or whatever like that to save the people. It's a handful. There's only going to be a handful saved, not two handfuls saved, or you know, you got two hands like this, you can try to save as many as you can. No. Handful saved with fingers left over, right? Fingers left over. So you're at least missing one. You try to hold, see how much stuff you can hold with 4 fingers, and then just try the different fingers. See how many things you could hold with, because pinky is useless. So if you have that left over, that's pretty much not having a finger. So you really have 3 fingers left over now. Because if you put the pinky in, you can't count that one. Because you can't hold nothing with the pinky anyways. Pinky's gonna break off under any type of pressure. So forget pinky. What are you gonna do? Keep wasting our time trying to save these people who are slipping through the finger cracks? Remember, you can't use the other hand to try to catch them after they slip through the finger cracks or whatever. They're gone. So, yeah. And consider that. Thumb is not a finger. So if a handful saved, we can include the thumb in the handful, but with the fingers left over, you can't even count the thumb because that's not a finger. So you're holding with 4. Or 3 or 2 or 1 dangling. Done for. So let them be done for. But they have to have the opportunity to know what this is. They have to, just like when we went to Mecca and we had the opportunity to see the cars in the fleet with their own tags, to know that this is real. They weren't exercising right to travel. They were being themselves. They were just being Moors. Nothing came up. Papers didn't come up. Right to travel card didn't come up. Nothing like that. The Moor just said, hey, you see that? And then I looked. And then the car, vehicle, conveyance, whatever you want to call it, had Moorish plates, tags, identification, whatever on it. It wasn't just like the 5 cars ahead of him that had Illinois plates on it. They didn't have those. They had their own plates with Moorish stuff on it. Like, damn, they got their own plates with Moorish stuff on it. Like, that's what it is to be a Moor. Like, that's where this thing is. Yeah, that's where it is. If you're really about it. If you're really about it, yeah, that's where it is. If you're not really about it, then you're going to look at that and think that they're doing some sovereign citizen, whatever. And then as soon as you hear Moors talk like that, you know that those Moors work with SPLC. And their job is to taint the active Moors, who would be the only ones showing right to travel cards and nationality cards and going into stores, getting taxes off, whatever. Only active Moors do that. Passive temple religious Moors, they don't do that stuff. They don't show their nationality card outside of a temple function. Right? The sing hymns to Noble Drew Ali Moors, they don't show their card when they go to a store and get taxes off. Only active Moors do that. Only active Moors do that. Active, not passive Moors. And the passive Moors are the ones scared of doing what the active Moors do, because they have that victim complex that as soon as they do something, Europeans going to come down on them and whatever. When we already told you, pale Arabs running up to us today telling us about, yeah, oh wow, Moroccan flag, and are you from Morocco and all that? Obviously they know. If this guy on the street knows, then yeah, President, Prime Minister, Department of Defense, whoever, Secretary of State, OPP, Commissioner, whoever, they know what's up. And matter of fact, we've had enough Moors who got kidnapped by them come back and say, yeah, they know who we are. They know exactly who we are. They screenshotted all the videos and all that stuff. They know exactly who we are. How come they haven't come raided yet or whatever? Because we're not about anything sovereign citizen. That's the first thing we tell these people when they try to pull us down into that. Sovereign citizen, what are you talking about? No, we're not none of that. We're Moors. You get that idea that we're sovereign citizens. Well, you said, power of attorney. What you gonna say power of attorney? That means I'm a sovereign citizen? Oh, you never done with a Moor before. You only deal with Negroes who always give you a license. I get it. I get it. Sorry, I'm not Negro, black, or colored, or African, or came over here on a slave ship, or none of that. I'm a Moor. I'm indigenous to this land. Sorry, you never heard about it before, but here's the identification. You want to write down those stuff on the back, and you just want to make sure that, and make sure that goes with the right to travel one right there. I give you 2 pieces of ID. That means that I'm good because the 2 pieces of ID match, and I look just like the picture on that, and you know that you have to accept that as identification. Oh, you don't want to accept it? All right, no problem. You can do whatever you got to do. See you in court. Go to court and see what happens. But that's not sovereign citizen, whatever, because you went to court and you're standing on your right. Anybody telling you that that's sovereign citizen, they're playing you. There's no acting like a sovereign citizen. There's no such thing, because there's no such thing as, the white man. No, there's no such thing as white man. What are you talking about? I saw the purple dragon flying, and you got a picture of that? No, I just saw the. Oh yeah, so we're just gonna go with you that you saw a purple dragon flying. Now you didn't think to pull out the phone and take a picture of a purple dragon for everybody to see or whatever? You post it on the Instagram, get 1 million views? No? Just stood there staring at purple dragon flying. Didn't even come to your mind, take out a picture and post it. Everybody see the purple dragon so people don't think you're nuts. Oh, the white man did something to you. Okay, all right, okay. All right, yeah. Oh, you're not sovereign. Oh, because you're a Moor, you're not a sovereign citizen. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. You're a Moor, yeah, but you're not a sovereign citizen. No way, I'm not a sovereign citizen. Sovereign citizens, the A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and you going down all the list of stuff that sovereign citizens do. You have mental problems. Probably need to go in an insane house or something like that because you're tripping. Tripping. Don't let them try to fool you all your stuff. Playing games with it.
You had them people in there too. It wasn't like only appealing to low-level people who ain't even trying to do anything. Like the way this stuff's going, if everybody talking that trash, people who are successful, who are bringing in resources, they're not gonna want to mess with it. Like, come on, man, it'd be a waste of time. That's not what it's about. And if you were in the temple, you would know that. Like, listen, what are you standing on? Right to travel? That's foolish. Like, we talked about this. You got to rewind this back because, like, the Constitution says right to travel. They're talking about people who are walking on foot. They're talking about people who are on horseback. Me and the brother had a conversation. Like, look, I'm in Ohio. We see Amish people all the time. We driving through Pennsylvania. There's some Amish people on horseback. They got a horse and buggy, and traffic is backed up because of that. And it's like, guess what? They don't need a license. They have the right to travel. They're still traveling like people were traveling in the 1700s. It's a different boat.
Yeah, but if the guy's walking on the highway, he's going to get a ticket. And not because he has a license or doesn't have a license. If a guy has on his bicycle and he don't need a license on a bike, but guarantee you try to ride your bike on the highway, guarantee you get a ticket. Why? Why would they get a ticket for? They're not driving. They don't have a license. So let's talk BS. Stop lying to people. It's not about right to travel. Anybody talking about making right to travel a topic of discussion when talking about Moorish whatever, and they're speaking from it in a negative tone, know without a shadow of a doubt that these people work for the other side. Because that's the only reason they would be talking against it. Because if they're talking against the right to travel, that means they're talking for colonial instruments. And if they're talking for colonial instruments and they have fezzes on and they're saying that they're Moors and all that stuff, they're sellouts. They work with the other side. Like we say with Moors, you're going to play colonial instrument, reserve your rights and put down your nationality card with the colonial stuff. Make them write down both identifications because, yeah, you know, you want your stuff, I have my stuff that I'm going to give you. So you're taking both or take none. And I don't want to hear about no impersonation of or whatever and that ID is not good and all that stuff because we already know Moors who put down both of them and they were able to go do whatever it is they were doing. And it's not like they, you know, slid it back to them on the counter. They took the colonial instrument and the nationality card and went to the back with it and came back and gave them back their stuff and let them go do whatever it is that they're doing. So don't talk BS. We know more who just got back from the islands using nationality card and right to travel card and passport. You know a Moor who just did that. So don't say that whatever instrument is needed and you don't have to do right to travel and all that stuff. That's a right that you have. That's a right that you have. Driving is a privilege. Any instrument from the colonial powers is granting you a privilege, and a privilege could be taken away at any time, whenever they feel like it. And what if they just feel like taking away your privilege? Now you can't go to the store to get milk for your baby now? You can't go get diapers? You just have to sit there because your license is suspended and you can't go around the corner in the snowstorm to go get your stuff that you need for your family. And you're telling me that the guy who goes in the stuff and goes around the corner, gets the milk and comes back, oh, he violated the law because he's suspended and he shouldn't have did that? The hell out of here. You ever had a crying baby in your ear? Probably want to get them something to eat. But what they want, not what you think they want and all that stuff. Milk would do something. You know, because, you know, mom's not there. And then, you know, because we're, you know, degenerate, we can't pull out our titty or whatever and let them get some milk. So you gotta go to the store, go pick up some almond milk or something like that. Don't let these people try. Don't even let them try and diss it. And remember, this is a campaign that's been going on. This is not something just yesterday because you're new to Instagram and you just found out you're a Moor that, oh wow, yeah, that's right. They should have a license because why wouldn't you have a license? Well, why would the guy who, you know, he doesn't know how to drive a truck or whatever, and he's going to use a right to travel card and go drive a truck. And what if he crashes through the mall and your mom's at the mall and then he runs over your mom? What are you talking about? How right to travel get to the guy with a truck driving through some place and then running over pigs and stuff like that? What are you talking about? You only play that dumb stuff with people who are new to this. Only people who are new, they try that stupid stuff with. Yeah, speak about it, brother Tallahassee. When the highwayman came to our class. Soon as they walked in, like, oh, there's our highwayman. All right. Let's see if you like what we're saying. Highwaymen in the class. Putting up their hand, asking questions and all that. They weren't there for no Moorish whatever. They were there to check to see, like, yo, we heard about Moors are sovereign citizens and stuff like that. And you know what I mean? Like, we just came to see what you guys are about. Oh, well, shit, we were here for an hour and a half. We didn't hear anything about anything crazy. Yeah, you guys talked about law and you had law dictionaries and stuff, but we didn't hear nothing crazy. You ready to go get some donuts? Let's get out of here. The highwayman, a good one, Tallahassee, for bringing that one up. Just remembered. Good one. Never thought about that in a long time. The highwayman that came to class. That was a good one. And you knew they were highwaymen. You knew. Do you know what a highwayman looked? European and Asian. No, from Hindustan. The East Asian. And we know that they were highwaymen. One even sat front row. Had no issue with anything that we were talking about during class. And anybody who watches Canaanland Moor's class, you know we go all over. We don't limit our discussion in class because whoever in the back has a question or a comment or whatever, they're going to say whatever they got to say, and it might not have to do anything that we're teaching that day. Right? So yeah, so they know what's up. And again, they're playing, they have their little people out here that are going to be playing this thing to try to get you to look at your right as a problem. Your right is an issue. You exercising your right is going against the government because, you know, the government says that you should. That's not government. That's not government. Just like one of the Moors earlier, they were talking about, wish I had the timestamp. They were talking about something relative to USA and that being for Moors. Like, the hell are you talking about? How's USA for Moors? When we have an empire. Like, why would we want USA? That's a foreign European corporation. Why would we want that? When we have an empire.
Ball game. When the Constitution, when you come upon something that it doesn't deal with, you refer to the amendments. The 10th Amendment refers you to the state constitution, state laws. State laws require driver's license. Get out of here with that mess, man. That's garbage. They not telling you that though. Whoever pushing that right to travel, they leaving that out. They like, no.
Yeah, and what they're leaving out is that if it's state constitutional law, guaranteed 100% that state is a corpse. It's not a government. That state is only on paper, has nothing to do with the Aboriginal indigenous people who might be called Moors in this day and time. And were classified as Negro, black, colored, and African and everything else. Point blank, period. They won't let you go there. They're going to tell you, oh yeah, Constitution, 10th Amendment, it says state laws in there. Okay, but the state laws are supposed to be in harmony with the Constitution. If the state laws are outside of harmony with the Constitution, which requiring the natural people to have a license because the state constitution says so, when the national constitution doesn't say so, that's not right and exact as far as the law, so it could be discarded because that's not right and exact. The constitutional law has to be, the state law has to be in line, in harmony with the constitutional law. State law can't just make up its own stuff and then that's what it is because they made it up. That's why Moors could exercise right to travel and have no issues. Because they're not standing on state law, they're standing on universal law. They're standing on natural law. They're standing on constitutional law. They're standing on common law before they stand on state law. And most Moors wouldn't even stand on state law because the constitutional law trumps state law. Just like impeachment means proceeding. What do you want? What do you think, something's going to happen? An impeachment is a proceeding. Not nothing special. Not nobody getting hung in the town square. Let's go look, bring your phone so you could take pictures of the hanging president who violated something. An impeachment is a proceeding against a state official or any official. That's all. Nothing else. It's a proceeding. Now, if people don't study, then they talk crazy. Like constitutional law trumps. Constitutional law trumps the supreme law of the land? How? How is that so? How could you even utter that incompetence? Oh, they can because somebody gave them a platform because all they had to do was put their name in or whatever like that, make up some password and then push record. Now they can claim that they know something and confuse people out here. And have people so confused about what this is that they abandon their birthright, which is the point of having these people out here. Having the ones that are on the fence questioning whether this is legit or not, even though they did their own research and they found out so much stuff or whatever. They go on YouTube, they see some brother, oh wow, yeah, this brother said he's a Moor. We push play on this. Oh my gosh, he's saying that right to travel is not right and you can't be doing that. And Noble Drew Ali said don't do this and that. Playing people.
Keep pushing this. You know, some of them even sell right to travel ID cards. $50 for some trash, man.
Right, that was a diss to RV Bay Publications right there. And Great Seal. And active Moors who have a right to travel card and been exercising right to travel regardless of what mode, whether it's they're on their bike and they're using it, they're on their three-wheeler and they're using it, whether they're on foot and they get pulled over and they say, what are you checking me for? I got a right to travel. Whether they're behind the wheel and they're doing it, regardless of what. Regardless of what. There's Moors that have been exercising this right for decades. Never have any issues. So for this individual to come out of his face, right, the hole in the face that stuff comes out of, and talk against right to travel cards for $50, we know what he's doing. We know who he's talking about. We know that that was a slick under the table when the ref's not looking, you know, elbow him in the kidney. Hit him below the belt because the ref's not looking. You know, RV Bay Publications selling anything. That website is there as a university for Moors. Go on there and learn. You're going to learn about your government, the Great Seal, and that there's a national association that deals with Moorish affairs. Moorish affairs include identification. They've been giving out identification for years to Moors that have exercised their rights using this identification successfully. And now some Johnny come lately who wants to try to get in on that game of sell your nationality to you in some way, shape, or form, create a website, put something Moorish on there, and sell it to you for their own pockets, not to build up the nation. Selfish and greedy Moors. And then the people who are doing this for the nation, you know how many people were able to even proclaim and declare their nationality because of a Great Seal? Because so-called Moorish Science Temple or whatever didn't want to do it, or didn't know how to do it, or was doing it messed up, where these people have their identification card from the Moorish Science Temple of America, and then they take that somewhere and show that as ID, and people are looking at them like they're a dumbass because this thing doesn't even have a picture on it? What do you mean this is your identification? Where's the picture? Where's the address, mailing location? Where's the height, weight, date of birth? This is just a name on here. It's paper. Like what's this? Because Moorish Science Temple hasn't done their job is why Great Seal stepped up and started doing the job. Now they're mad. When majority of these people who call themselves Supreme Grand, whoever today, came through Great Seal and active Moorish exercising. Case in point.
I wasn't really noticing any other Moors, you know. I was basically to myself. You know, I had friends, we was going to lectures in Detroit and getting information. But that was about it, man. You know, I was buying packages, you know. I done bought so many different packages, you know. I done did Social Security Trust. I done, like I say, I done filed my declarations. And I was just doing stuff. I was like, man, what did I do? I don't even understand this, but I'm doing it. So after that, I'm spending money, you know. I can't even put a total to it, man. You know, guys, you know, they charged me, what, $500 for a Social Security Trust. To file the documents, I don't even remember. I think it was $28 a document, like 5 documents. Filed it in the courts. Name change. The total, I forget how much I spent on that. But like I said, I remember that Social Security Trust was being a big one. And after that, it's like, come on, man. Just the Social Security Trust was so thick. I'm like, man, you don't know none of this stuff, man. You don't even know what you're doing. I'm registered in the Register of Deeds, you know, and I don't even know what it is. And what else I do? Just a bunch of little stuff that come with that, you know.
A bunch of little stuff that come with that is somebody who's not studying, somebody who's looking for something to get out of this Moorish paradigm. As soon as you come into this thinking, oh, wow, I can use this to, as soon as that's your mindset, you're about to get played. Because somebody out there has the thing that you think you're going to be able to buy that's going to get you to exercise your rights, when it doesn't work like that. This has to do with you going within, you studying this for yourself. This has nothing to do with anybody else, because it's your birthright. It's not Noble Drew Ali's birthright. It's not Allah's birthright. It's your nationality and your birthrights. Once you are brought in to this information from the perspective that you can get something from this, like the same way you went to whatever and they gave you welfare, or you went to whoever and they gave you 20 notes, or you went to whoever and they let you board a car and then you went joyriding because you didn't have a car and stuff like that or whatever, you think that this is what it is? That's not what this is. It's not about you getting anything. This is all about you giving, because this is a humanitarian, Rotarian complexion movement. As soon as you come in with the mindset that you're about to get something out of it, you lose, which is why he lost, which is why he gave up on being an active Moor and started being a passive temple, sing hymns to Noble Drew Ali Moor. Because once you leave the active realm, that's the only thing that left if you stay true to this. But now you're going into the den of wolves because they haven't been active. That's why there's no treasury. That's why the $1 million that was in the treasury is gone. That's why fake Noble Drew Alis have mausoleums, and the original founder of this movement has a little plaque covered over with grass that you have to hunt to find his stuff if you want to give him some honors at the cemetery. The reincarnated fake Noble Drew Ali, he has a mausoleum. You could see that from miles away. He has a mausoleum. And the actual prophet, the actual founder of this, he has a little plaque in the grass. And don't tell me some BS about, well, Noble Drew Ali was a humble man and stuff like that, so he just gave himself. Stop the BS. Because there's all these people around here that got plaques, $1 million people and whoever. There was a sellout in this. And people robbed your stuff is the point. I don't care if he has a mausoleum or plaque. The guy with the mausoleum robbed your stuff. They're still around today. The people who lost Unity Hall after Noble Drew Ali transition. The people who lost the community center. The people who lost the manufacturing company that was packaging the herbs and the Epsom salt baths and the mineral oil that Noble Drew Ali was selling, that you try to get that now, you're going to have a hard time getting that, because these Moors are playing corner the market on Noble Drew Ali stuff. You can't get it unless you go to them and all that. There was a sellout in this. And the sellout is why there's nothing right now. The sellout is why these Moors, who were active Moors, said, forget that. I'm not being active no more, because all I'm doing is spending money because people give you buying packages, selling me packages or whatever. When dumbass should have known that this was about studying, not buying a package. But how is he going to know that if you're coming in and you don't go to the right source? Because we came into this from active Moors. Like we said, these Moors had their own tags in 2008. These Moors were going to court in 2008. Case dismissed. No issues. 0 issues. Look at Brother Mizraim. Brother Mizraim went to court. He did whatever he did. They'll say, okay, fine. We'll see you in the next court date. We're going to send you the date for court. Yeah, whatever. Whenever you want to send the date, I'll be there. No more. You guys not going to take advantage of my rights and all that stuff or whatever. Yeah, you think so? Okay, fine. We're going to take you to court. We'll set up another day with a different judge. Whatever. Still going to be a Moor. How come they sent him to court on Christmas Day? Is there court on Christmas Day? If there's no court on Christmas Day, and they told him come to court on Christmas Day, that means they dismissed the case. That means case dismissed without it being on the court floor, without having transcripts that say case dismissed, without having to make themselves look like a dumbass because they tried to play Negro stuff on a Moor. No. Case dismissed because they sent him to court on Christmas Day. Now, he could have been a dumbass and went to court on Christmas Day, but probably a game that they're playing. He was standing up on nationality and birthrights. How come nobody's not talking about that? How come nobody's bringing that up? Nobody's not talking about that experience. But no, you have some coward out here who exercised his right, didn't get whatever treatment, and then, oh no, well, you know, we're not going to be active Moors anymore in any way, shape, or form. We're going to forget all type of active whatever, and we're just going to go to the temple and we're going to sing and pray, and that's all. That's the Moors we are now. Temple Moors. Just go to the temple, study your Quran, study your 101s, study your Divine Constitution, Moorish literature. That's it. There's no other books for you to read, nothing else for you to learn. That's all. And then they're going to play games with Noble Drew Ali, and we're under occupation. And then they're going to put the Moroccan flag upside down, but have the Stars and Stripes flag right side up, facing properly, like that's the real government or something. And then you think these people never sold you out? If they're Moors, then that flag's supposed to be up right side up because they're representing that. Are they on their head or are they on their feet? If they're on their feet, why is the flag upside down? If they're walking on their hands coming to the temple, okay, I can see you have, because then the flag looks right side up when you're upside down. But if you're standing on your feet, why are you giving honors to Stars and Stripes more than your old glory? That sanctions Stars and Stripes. Oh, because they're religious, passive temple Moors. Nothing's wrong with that. You know what I mean? Hey, you go be a temple Moor, but don't talk BS about active Moors talking about we're sovereign citizens and we're part of the sovereign citizen movement because we don't want licenses. Don't do that. That's disrespectful because we're the ones that paved the way for them to even accept your passive ass and not bother you because you want to be a passive Moor. That's because of active Moors. Because Noble Drew Ali didn't bring passive Moors. Because Moors were going all over the country when Noble Drew Ali was around.
I forget. This was 2006. And not to mention, you know, I drove in North Carolina. I did it in North Carolina. So, you know, that trip. But it's all a learning experience. It's all a part of my journey. Basically what really sparked it was, and it kind of scared me, was like I said, when I came back from North Carolina, I had plates. Put them plates on. I'm getting pulled over by the police. I'm going over my literature. You know, I'm demonstrating. Pulled over by the police. Carolina, I had plates. Put them plates. It kind of scared me.
Right? That's how you know. Don't talk BS about the ones who aren't scared to exercise their right. Don't ridicule them. Don't talk down on them because they're willing to do what you won't because you're scared. So don't get mad with Moors who want to be active and they say, forget this, and they go out there and just be Moors with nothing. Not even a nationality card. They don't even want that because I'm a Moor. You tell me that you don't know who I am. You already know who I am. Don't get mad at those Moors. Don't try to play this game like you're more righteous than them because they're getting pulled over and harassed and you're not because you're a good citizen. You're following the laws of whatever. Shut the hell up. You're a bunch of sellouts. That's why the people aren't bothering you. You paid your tithes to Rome in not being active. Forget finance. Forget you took a payoff. That's why you're left alone. No. Your payoff is be a passive Moor. The passive payoff. You did your job if you're a passive Moor. And remember, his heart is why he couldn't bypass the fact that he was scared. Because fear is something that hits you in the heart. So you never forget fear. Right? You never forget fear. When before we were in this information, we weren't scared of highwaymen. So with this information, definitely not scared of some highwayman now. Because when we were nigger, we didn't fear highwaymen like that. It wasn't. Our thing was just not see them. Why see them? Why have some altercation with them? I just don't want to see them, period. You got this information? Oh, let me see them. Please let me see them. You can try this stuff on them, see how real this stuff really is. Those are different mindset of Moors than the Moors who, we're Moors, we know the law and we know the whatever, but we're just going to talk about that at our temple meetings and that's it. We're not going to do anything relative to being Moors outside of the temple. Those aren't the Moors you want to be around.
It's like I said, when I came back from North Carolina, I had plates, put them plates on. I'm getting pulled over by the police. I'm going over my literature, I'm demonstrating. And I noticed he treated me different. I don't know if it was new to him, or what the deal was, but he kind of respected me a little more. So I thought, he let me go, a few times. It could have been just Allah looking out for me. No, don't crack his head right now. He don't know. But I was always intelligent. You know what I'm saying? I talked to him with intelligence. So I never came off rude. I just was, hey, say what I had to say. But afterwards, I'm like, man, what did I do? After the cop left, at the time I was going over a friend of mine's house. I'm like, man, what did I do? I said, this nationality stuff is real. I'm talking about I'm a Moor and don't know nothing about the prophet, but I'm just, hey, that's what I am. I'm not this, I'm not that. You gotta treat me with some respect, It kind of like pride, what I'm saying? I knew it type of thing. I can't really pinpoint it. Oh man, at the time, I was kind of I wouldn't say I was prepared, but I started, I felt like, because I started studying and I felt like I knew enough to try. Like I said, I was experimenting. I'm a type person, I'm an experiment. You say it's this, okay, well, let me see if it worked. And then I thought about, put these plates on and go out here and see. I had read all this case law, man, Supreme Court cases. You got a right to travel. You can do this, you can do that, blah, blah, blah. So I blah, blah, blah it and spit it back to him, man. So, gave me false confidence, gave me confidence, you know what I'm saying? Nonetheless. So I'm like, something must be right. But you know what? I can't keep doing it like that. Basically, my understanding of right to travel is a lot of stuff is, like I say, I read Supreme Court cases. So stuff is real. But at the same time, you have to be a law-abiding citizen. You have to be, we don't have a nation to where we empower to enforce anything.
Right. And that's another tactic that they try to plan. We don't have power to enforce our rights, so we shouldn't be exercising them. Like, what do you mean we don't have the power? Like, how do we have the power to fly the Moorish flag and not get harassed? We were walking through the place, there was security there, highwaymen, whoever, and they didn't say no issue when we had Moroccan flag. Where we get the power from to go to court and wear our fezzes, and when this judge says take off your hat, we tell him it's not a hat, it's a fez, and they oh, sorry about that, and they let it go. Where do we get the authority for that? That didn't come from some book or some power or whatever like that. That is what it is. The power is the knowledge. So if you have knowledge enough to go do research and find Supreme Court cases to stand on your right to travel. Do you know that that's not a subject matter? Like, that's not a court subject matter. That's only a court subject matter because Moors go to court. But the Supreme Court cases that talk about right to travel, it's not because of somebody went to court for some right to travel. That was just a common fundamental right they were just making reference to. That, hey, people have that right. That right exists. So because the right exists, whether it's walking or behind the wheel of some mode of transportation, runs gas, electric, whatever, or pulled by a horse or a donkey or whatever, that right is not supposed to be infringed by someone in de facto possession of sovereign power, which is what a policeman is, because the only sovereign power of law enforcement is a sheriff. And again, them making right to travel be the issue when right travel is not the issue. These mercenaries pulling people over under the guise of a sheriff is the issue. Because they don't have sheriff powers. If you're talking about where does the power come from for something, where does the power come from for these people to say that they're police and law enforcement, but they're not the sheriff? They don't call themselves sheriff, but they have the power of law enforcement? How? And from where?
That was my whole understanding is, it's just me. You see what I'm saying? Who do I got backing me? It's not a bunch of us doing this at the same time. It's just me doing this.
And again, we know Moors personally near North Carolina, where it's just them doing that, and they don't have any issues. So what are you talking about? What was wrong with him that made it not work? But we know Moors who've been doing that for at least 10 years, exercising right to travel with their own tags, going from different state to different state and all that stuff, go and visit Moors in other states. And then they got their plates on and have no issues. How come? Because the Moor who exercising, he wasn't scared. And the fear is why him exercising right to travel didn't work. And he didn't say, let me go take care of my fear. He said, forget that. I'm not exercising that.
And so that kind of hit home with me. You know, it's like, well, I'm a law-abiding citizen. Let me go back to being a law-abiding citizen and do what I got to do and get my study on, you know.
Now, keep in mind, when Noble Drew Ali told Moors be law-abiding citizens, he meant be civilian. He meant know the law. When Noble Drew Ali said be law-abiding citizen, he wasn't talking about acts and ordinances as the law to abide by. He was talking about constitution. He wasn't talking state constitution. He always said national constitution. So for these Moors to try to convince you about some state constitution is the law, when Noble Drew Ali only made reference to national constitution. Somebody's playing you out of your birthright, right into servitude.
You know, there's other ways, you know, you got to pick your fights. And I realized that wasn't a fight. Like I said, there's some truth to it. You got Supreme Court cases that prove certain things. But at the same time, I'm not a nation by myself. You know what I'm saying? And it's just me at the time. But it's all a learning experience. It's all a part of my journey. You know, reflecting back on it today, I had to go through that to get to this. you know. So, but it was, I wouldn't change nothing because it's a learning experience. I had to do it. I did it for a reason. I know that now, but at the time, you know, I'm like, I'm just doing stuff. The change for the next phase, life. You know, I'm living life. I'm like, man, I can't keep doing this. So I was always studying, reading books. Because now, you know, by then, you know, by now, you know, Dr. York, he had a bunch of books, you know, little pamphlets. I done read so many of them, and I started buying books. And, you know, I just started building my library. And I'm like, I need to start learning law, history, everything. I need to relearn everything. And, you know, and I continued to do that, but I wasn't active with what I started with the Clock of Destiny. You know what I'm saying? I was like, man, I had to do a lot of studying. Then I'm going to go file a Social Security trust. I don't know what that's about, but I did it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, what did I do? So I'm now got to study that. You know, today they call it sovereignty packets and things of that nature. But then, yeah, I remember, you know, sovereignty redemption plan. You know, I studied all that stuff. And I was into that stuff. But then, you know, it just didn't sit well with me. So I kind of kicked back. But what stuck was nationality and the fact that, man, hey, you're not a Negro.
Talking about how sovereignty didn't stick, but nationality stuck when sovereignty comes from nationality. So hold on a second. So sovereignty didn't stick because people were selling you packages and all that stuff, but nationality stuck because Noble Drew Ali told you that you're not Negro, black, colored. That's incompetence. Because if you're a law-abiding citizen that is studying nationality, then you're talking sovereignty, law-abiding citizen guy. But they don't want to go there because remember, they're scared. As soon as you start talking about law-abiding citizen and constitution and stuff like that, now you got to stand up for something. You can't just sit in the temple and just sit in the temple. You have to stand for something. You can't fall for everything and not stand for something. If you stand for nothing, then you're just a punk coward. And that's it.
Yeah, if you argue that mess, you know, and you sound like you know what you're trying to be able to get some officers to leave you alone. Who wants to take these stupid chances? And you standing on folly, right? You crazy if you want some Amish dude who don't even know how to drive a car, who been riding horse and buggy all his life, just get behind the wheel and just start driving. You gonna feel cool? You want that to be your Uber driver? You don't think he needs to take that test and prove that he can drive that 18-wheeler? Some girl just got killed by an 18-wheeler. Like, come on, man.
The test has nothing to do with the license. Once you're qualified by taking the test, that's why you have driving instructor or whatever. The driving instructor is the one that says, okay, you can go take the test. Okay, so doesn't that mean that the driving instructor just passed me? If the driving instructor just passed me, then what do I need to go to those guys for to get tested for if I just was with an instructor who these guys sanctioned for the past 4 months? I'm going to go to them now, go get tested when the guy who trained me said I'm ready. And then I'm going to go to these guys and then I'm going to pass the test. And then they're going to give me something saying your right to travel is now our privilege that we're selling back to you because you have to buy the license, which means that that's them converting a right into a crime, which is criminal, but they're not going to bring that up. They're going to argue with me for not wanting a license. People are playing you under the name of their Moors. I'm telling you. Where were these people 10 years ago? And if they weren't around 10 years ago, if they weren't Negro, black, colored 10 years ago, they were part of the active Moors movement. Because Temple Moors in 2008, 2009, that was Masonic. And that was closed door policy. You weren't going in there unless you were invited in 2008, 2009, which is why those people started having such a hard time with RV Bay Publications once again and Tashriq Bay, because they were speaking about the sellout happening in those buildings called Moorish Science Temple of America. And because they were calling them out, they were making them look like dumbasses. So they started to open the door a little bit and start talking a little bit more. But that was closed door. Like we're saying, we came in through Moors who were with Grand Major Temple in Chicago, Temple number 1, and left because of some gay porn stuff. And they said those people aren't qualified to be Grand Major Temple if they're doing gay porn stuff. So we're going to be Grand Major Temple. And these Moors had Chicago locked down, had their own fleet with their own tags, going to court, stuff dismissed. Nobody was claiming houses and doing any madness like that. But they were helping Moors save their properties that were being foreclosed on and stuff like that. They were claiming those. They were claiming stuff that they made, 50 payments of, $1,000 a month on a house. They were helping them save those though. But again, I'm not hearing about that. Right? We know the Moors who Wells Fargo sent them the letter saying, oh, well, we can't provide you the deed of trust, so you owe nothing and the house is yours. What did those Moors do? Those Moors went and told some Moors, hey, the process works. The process actually works. Here's the letter that we got from Wells Fargo saying that we don't owe them anything when we know that we owe them stuff still, if we're talking owe and all that stuff. But because of us standing on our nationality and our birthrights and asking the right questions to them, they vacated the foreclosure and gave us the house. You know what Moors did? Moors didn't go study the process. Moors took that letter, made a copy of it, and sent that to Wells Fargo with a letter from them saying, you need to do what you did for these Moors for me. That's what Moors did. And guess what happened? Wells Fargo said, forget this. And shut all those people down. And then I'll have these Moors looking crazy because they withdrew their stuff that they did with them. Because of these dumbass Moors who don't want to study, they want to benefit something from this Moorish movement. When this is not about benefit something from. This is about, you want to break that boulder right there? There's the sledgehammer right there. Grand Sheik breaking your boulder for you just because I have the boulder crushing power title. No, you bust your own boulders. FOH. Because I know for sure I'm going to bust your boulders and then you're not even going to say thank you. You're just going to leave like nothing ever happened. Now I see you places and stuff like that, you pretend like you don't know who people are and all that stuff. When we busted your boulders, now you're playing around like you don't know people who broke back, broke fingers, whatever, busting your boulders fully, and you don't want to give them honors? All right. These people play out your stuff under the guise of their Moors.
That vehicle, that conveyance is a weapon if you don't know what you're doing. Like Come on, man.
Your tongue is a weapon if you don't know what you're doing. The hell are you talking about? A car is a weapon if you don't know what you're doing. Yeah, but so is a bat. If you don't keep bats on the baseball field, that's a weapon. If you don't keep tire irons to take off nuts for the wheel, that's a weapon. But all of this is that fear campaign. And remember, only the elite push this fear stuff. Get you scared of Islam because terrorists blew up something. Oh my gosh, we're scared of Islam now. What do you mean? You guys still have Islamic Quran in the White House in glass case. The hell do you mean? Why you have Islamic book in glass case, but you talk about you're going after terrorists who are Islamic? The hell are you talking about? Why the hell are you backing these people talking crazy? This Moor said, a vehicle, a conveyance is a weapon if you don't know how to use it. So you shouldn't exercise right to travel. You should get a license. What?
You want somebody don't even know what they doing, just hop behind a airplane and start driving? You gonna be in there? You gonna be cool with that? They don't need to take the test and prove they got their license. Get out of here. Like, how old are you? Come on, think. And then that's wrong. Amendment, 10th Amendment, refer to the state laws, state constitution. That's trash. You can't stand on that. The Amish can. They're not driving or traveling in conveyances. I'm trying to say training and license is two different things. Bro, this is a part of the state laws in each state. It's there for a reason. But
right, there they go, pushing state law, not constitutional law, pushing state law. And if they're pushing state law, not state constitutional law, which is in harmony with the national constitution, they're working for the courts, selling out your birthright. Oh, there you go, man. Right. It's just what it is, nothing personal. Nothing personal. Right. I mean, it's kind of personal with these guys because they talk BS about us. They talk BS about RVA publications. They friggin' took our picture or whatever like that, using that for their videos and stuff, At the same time, selling you up. So this one's kind of personal. So before we close out, I just want to give the mothers something. Since we have our mother's book right now. We have the mother's book. Put some stuff out. This is, again, Sybil's Mama Zogbe. If you don't got it, go get it. If you don't have it, make sure you go get it. If you don't have it. Page 51. Actually, page 50. Historians of ancient Egypt, when describing Egypt's rise as a global military power, often assume an amicable joining of Upper and Lower Egypt under King Menes, hailing this event as the greatest political achievement in Egyptian history. This monumental event, the claim began the golden age of military conquest and global expansion and the unchallenged rule of Egypt's patriarchal pharaohs. And according to most, it established Egypt's inviolable position as a legitimate power. However, that is the view from history provided by the patriarchs. Upon closer examination, in considering the historical evidence from the view of the matriarchs, indicates that this amicable joining might not have been such a crowning achievement in Egypt's history at all, but rather the opposite. In spite of Egypt's patriarchal military might, the kings and pharaohs of Egypt still had to capitulate to the conquered and declining matriarchs for whom they must still claim their divine blood and spiritual inheritance. This inescapable fact, as well as her exclusive sacerdotal authority and political influence in the world, generated much jealousy, envy, and resentment toward them. The temple priests of Ammon, who revolted against them, slaughtered the ancestral python of the Sibyls, a deliberate act of divine warfare that centuries later, Wegbaja, the first king of Dahomey, is alleged to have committed in his takeover of sacerdotal power against the matriarchal clans in West Africa. After Ammon's priests slaughtered the sacred python, they demanded that separate grand temples be built to Apollo and Zeus, atop of them. These priests then proceeded to rearrange the cosmological pantheon, placing themselves at the head. A new patriarchal mythos was invented, and the sacerdotal doves were replaced with fiery eagles of Horus. We are told that under the patriarchs, the nations had become completely corrupted. During prophetic pronouncements, the divine oracles of Mami, speaking through the Sibyls, would always express her disapproval of their actions in her greetings to them. It is alleged that it was her anger at the seizure of her temples and the subsequent corruption that usually followed why she allowed for Egypt and many of her African nations to fall victim to barbaric and foreign invasions and ultimately ruin as divine punishment. For example, in one not so corrupted prophetic verse, she proclaims through the Sibyl, "Alas for thee, O Libya! Alas for thee, O sea and land in the western nations! How shall you come to the miserable day? You shall come exercised in a conflict which will be terrible and difficult. You shall have a fearful judgment again, and you all shall come to destruction because you have destroyed the great Ammon temple of the immortal God." Now keep in mind, they're talking about Western nations, but they're talking about Egypt. Oh, they're talking about Western nations, but they're talking about Egypt. Why talk about Egypt, the Western nations, if Egypt's in the East? Just a thought. Grievously grinding it as it were with iron teeth, for the cause thou shalt see thy land filled with dead bodies, some slain in war, and all the force of evil spirits by famine and plague, and by enemies of a barbarous fury. All thy land shall become a desert, and thy cities be forsaken. The new Euro-patriarchal world order could no longer afford to tolerate the notion of relying on African matriarchal divine predominance as its fundamental theological and cultural base. Unlike seizing spoils of war, the African divinities whose mysteries the Romans did not understand were ancestrally linked, and thus its divine power could never be completely usurped and controlled by them. Furthermore, those patriarchal Hebrew shepherds whose holy laws and canons do not predate the prophecies of the Sibyls also revolted against them, and they later became known historically as Semitic Jews of Palestine. They had long broken away from the matriarchal orders, and following the historic trend, began patriarchal priests of Horus and the Babylon Marduk, and Jews did away with the worship of the primary black goddess, Anath Yahu. Yahweh, an elevated minor consort Jehovah, were put in her place. Remember, we're talking about Hebrew Israelites right now. Yahweh and her minor consort Jehovah. Yahweh her. Yahweh her. Yahweh and her elevated minor consort Jehovah were put in the place of Anath Yahu, ANATH-YAHU. Though the Jews and the Roman papal authorities were competing enemies, both were in agreement that the African divine matriarchal authority had to be discredited and ultimately destroyed. That's why you always see those Hebrews always cursing at the sisters on the street about their this and their that and whatever like that, when they're the Sibyls. They're the return of the ancients. That's why they have the saying, ancestors said, you don't die or something. What's the thing? Let me find this thing. Moor put it in the chat today. Let me tell you. Let me tell you. Hell is empty, and all the devils are here. Don't worry about somewhere else has all these evil people or whatever. They're all right here. And you know them because they go against mother. Hard, they go against mother. They go against mother so hard. And push their patriarchal ideals. The motivations of the Jews stem from their hatred of the divine African mother and their bitter break with the patriarchal pharaonic orders of ancient Egypt. The Roman Church's usurpation of her sacerdotal power was motivated out of nothing less than mere political expediency and economic necessity. In the end, what remained of the African was a corruption of their own spiritual doctrines, in which the prophecies of the Sibyls were rewritten to forecast Levitical Jews waiting for their Jehovah and Christians waiting for their second coming of Christ, while the African people and others are left begging for the crumbs of salvation that will fall from the table of what amounts to little more than a politically orchestrated, doctrinal, and historical lie. All told, there remains scant credible evidence from either of these groups of the existence of an ancient, omnipotent power independent of the divine African mother. That's what these bastards were up to. Plato, Justin, and Aristophanes tells us that the Sibyls were not a few, all of them embracing the same prophetic life. And for some particular reason, they all chose the appellation of Sibyls. Not the name, the appellation of Sibyls. Tell me they weren't Moors? A tradition by the inhabitants, which came down to them from their African ancestors. Now, what is it that Noble Juali said? Noble Juali said that their name is humanity. Not just one, all of them. Their name is humanity. Why? Because the name was written on one Sibyl that he was carrying out of the cares of the world onto the solid rock of salvation. And he told you, just like the Sibyls, all of them have one appellation called humanity. He's a mastermind. Peace and love to all Moors. I want to give thanks to Mother for life and everything else, all the orders. Without Mother, we'd playing games all the time. We didn't do nothing serious. Right? If any clowns in the chat have any stuff you want to bring up right now, you got 8 minutes to deal with your BS. So any trolls or any clowns or anybody who wants to learn something or they have a question, please put that up. Now, why do you support Richard Smith? He's super pseudo. Well, let's see. Richard Smith put out a book called The Moor, the Mason, and the Alien. And in The Moor, the Mason, and the Alien, he's acknowledging the Moors. Not only is he acknowledging the Moors, but he's acknowledging that the Moors aren't even earth beings. Moors even have nothing to do with the earth plane. They're just here now in this day and time. So to say that he's pseudo when he's talking about the history of the Moors, you know that you're just a hater. You're just a Rick Smith hater. Why do you hate Rick Smith? I don't know if he sexed your girl or whatever like that, or sexed your mom, or, did some card reading or saw your mom in a dream she was an alien or something like that. You're mad. I don't know. But whatever problem you have with Rick Smith, you should probably go on Rick Smith's channel and don't be a coward. Don't be afraid that he knows whoever and he's going to send them to deal with you or whatever like that, because he's pseudo. Go handle your business, Rambo. You're calling yourself Rambo and stuff like that. You're scared of Rick Smith or whatever? Please, what Rambo are you talking about? Give up that stuff. Go back to wherever you come from. Any more trolls out there? Have any comments to make or any suggestions or any BS that you wanna talk about? Anybody? Anybody? Anybody there? No? Nothing? You have any no BS? Everybody in the chat is down with everything. No rebuttals, no questions, no anything. All right. Islam to all the Moors, peace and love. Oh yeah, forgot. Put this out there. Close out with this. In commemoration of us hitting a milestone out here. In commemoration with us hitting a milestone, in this jurisdiction that we affectionately call Canaanland. We have a little fundraiser going around right now. A little fundraiser going around. We have our Noble Drew Ali 10th anniversary remembrance coins. So you can have something to remember this great time when the Moors did it for a decade in honor of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. This is our 10-year commemoration coin. 25 notes. You go to, and it's a coin. You know, it's not silver or gold or whatever. It's a coin. And this is just for, you know, if you've been repping some Canaanland and you need something tangible to be able to put in glass or something, or put a sleeve on it and say, hey, or carry it in your pocket all the time or whatever. Just to say that, you know, you have a personal item from Canaanland to commemorate the work that's been done out here for the past 10 years by all the Moors that's been put in work here. Moors here included. You can make your donation to culturaleducators@gmail.com through PayPal. culturaleducators@gmail.com. Make sure you leave your mail-in location and we'll send you your coin in commemoration of the 10th anniversary for Noble Drew Ali Day, 2010 to 2020, that we had here in Canaanland this year. And again, this is, you know, we look at this as we're the prophecy manifested to prove that Noble Drew Ali is a prophet and that, you know, what he said was going to manifest. If you go to the RV Bay Publications website page, you will see the Canaanland page. And on the Canaanland page, we have the letter that Noble Drew Ali was speaking with Leona Bruton and Oscar Bruton, who were prominent Moors and Europeans out here. And he was talking to them about getting his program here of uplifting fallen humanity through the Moorish Science Temple of America. And years had passed until finally it manifested. Not because of some grand major temple, whoever, because of Moors. Because Moors realized, right? Moors realized that this was prophecy happening. And the prophecy happening was Noble Drew Ali being exercised and brought out here. And his program being implemented here in this jurisdiction called Toronto, where he came in the 1920s to meet with Oscar Bruton and Madame Leona Bruton, who had community centers, who had hair salons, and all that stuff out here, because she was a humanitarian. And her husband, Oscar Bruton, was a potentate in the Order of the Elks. Right? So if you're interested, culturaleducators@gmail.com, PayPal, 25 notes. We'll cover the shipping and we'll send you your coin in commemoration of Noble Drew Ali Day, 10-year celebration. It's a 10-year thing going on right now. Everybody's celebrating some 10-year thing. 10 years that we've been putting it in for the Prophet. And this is just our, memorabilia of the events that we do out here. So peace and love to all Moors, Islam to all, and of course, I'll give you something to close out with. Islam to all. We got at least two to run for you. Peace and love to all Moors. Give thanks to the Prophet Noble Drew Ali for all the sacrifices he made, and give thanks to Allah. And always remember that Allah comes before Father of the universe. And the only thing before Father is Mother. So honors to all mothers that we call Allah in these days and times, but who are really Allah manifested in flesh. Islam.
So Stang, turn my phones up a bit. Ain't nothing changed, it's the same. You still skylarking, most got stepdaddy like Harden. They harden, fixed in the ways, they too hardened. Some got convictions, even if they apply. They the victims, ain't getting no pardon. Almanac is in the pen, middle finger to the warden. Free your mind, even though your body barred in. This war that I'm starting, might not want to pardon. That's what I do, that's what I If you're scared, stay far then. I'm prepared, ain't handing my card in. What they wanna call black is soot. Burnish rounds on the foot. Chardon, hydrogen molecule with the carbon. If you dare take a walk to the garden, set a stage for the role that I'm starting. I'm more in Black Knight like Martin. So Stang, turn my phones up a bit. Ain't nothing changed, it's the same. You still skylarking, most got stepdaddy like Harden. They harden, fixed in the ways, they too hardened. Some got convictions, even if they apply. They the victims, ain't getting no pardon. Almanac is in the pen, middle finger to the warden. Free your mind, even though your body barred in. This war that I'm starting, might not want no pardon. That's what I do, that's what If you're scared, stay far then. I'm prepared, ain't handing my card in. What they wanna call black is soot. Burnish rounds on the foot, chardon. Hydrogen molecule with the carbon. If you dare take a walk to the garden, set a stage for the role that I'm starting. I'm more in Black Knight like Martin. Soar, take flight like a Martian. I'm the gladiator, Spartan, still polite a gentleman, charming, friends like the Red Sea when it's parting, Kundalini energy when I'm charging, light power and the force of a car wind, you know the type when you gotta keep your arm in, why fight when you know saying no, we never ever be compared, let's make it clear, from day one to day done I'm here, I never fear, you never ever will compare, let's make it clear, been running this from year to year, I'm still prepared. Top ranking, top charting. We occupy the six crates and the carton. The highest grade of the strain that I'm sparking. Up late nights, Johnny Carson. Early mornings, remember starving engraved in my mind. Carved in, I'm dwelling in the past. No harping, don't be afraid or alarmed by the barking. Keep it close by a very thin margin. Shadow box with a little bit of sparring. Cage fights when you fence, then you barbed in. No cavalry, desperado charging. Never could compare. Let's make it clear. From day one to day done I'm here. I never fear. You never ever could compare. Let's make it clear. Been running this from year to year. I stay prepared.
Cleansing the fire, don't go. That's what empty out when it's all gotta go. Cleansing the heart, don't go. Cleansing the fire, don't go. Empty out when it's all gotta go.
Don't ask me if it's a just war. That's not up to us. To us, it's just war.
Military mind in the military time. Military mind in the military time. Military mind in the military time. Crossing enemy lines, war morals entangled. Once they show me the rope, I show you warrior strangle. Separate bodies, 6-degree angles. High caliber grip when he rambles. From his tip, bionic lip equipped with the handles. Could have careers crippled in shambles. It's vandal. Michael Jordan fans know nobody fucks with my ammo. Nightmare to the son of Samuel. Spit with the camels, my energy's camel. Anger I channel, use it like a radical Tamil. Got tried as a terrorist, then my hammer spat at your panel. Weapons of form, had to dismantle. Handle it manual, left it to God. I'm on the path to a manual. Such a thrill to fill up a life giver. I catch your body, I deliver. You catch your body, you a killer. So I'm not your typical user. Every time I rhyme, I pull a trigger. Military mind in the military time. Military mind in the military time. Military mind in the military time. Not like an Uzi, I'm a broken toolie in a ghetto movie. Might explode if you let them use me. Usually cool, I.e. to identify me. You should probably be thinking highly. Trying to find wisdom where I be. What I be, dodging, listening, missing the missiles whistle by me. Wonder what they pay to try to buy me. Kingfisher play to bat me. Got me thinking all I need is my family. Sometimes I think all I need is a Grammy. To cure the Alzheimer's, to cure my granny. And anyone who understand me, even the ones that try to ban me. We all kids if the world is candy. Watch what you hand me, I won't let you hang me. I'm never going back to that place again. On a new path, not a pace of sin. You should play it back, you should take it in. I tied up one of my homies' legs, one of my homies' arms. Hope to die before losing my one and my only mom. Terror in my eyes, you worried about Saddam. I watch the temperature rise between niggas who get it on. When you hear the song, the message has no discretion. Pull up in the tank so the people know my aggression. Store Hannibal's weapon. Try to test him when class is in session. He'll dissect the lesson. Leave your body parts in the Western. Military mind in the military time. Military mind in the military time. Military mind in the military time.
Alright. Various things we learn as we live, like the experience, wisdom to give attention to that self that's in. Time has been the main form of this versus measurement. It's evident based on life's compliment that we were represent. Still we're meant for more. Whispers the voice of the core, which turns into a roar whenever we rhyme on the floor. Memories before now, happy reflecting how prophesizing on monopolizing like they do the cow. Correction, since they refer to deal with deception and all direction. It's full self-inspection into perfection. No perplexing, just speaking, respecting those that's teaching. Reflections that are reaching to that point where they preaching. The concept of borderlines, intertwining out an angel, either in a demon spot, my cons. Always ready to build, feeling the battle drills, knowing that we will. Do what's necessary to hail the ill to the mind of a soldier. Growing in the north colder, so consequently as we've gotten older, gotten bolder. Rhyme solo when they trigger that pioneer spirit. Hear it inform it, spit it out a conduit, no doubt. We about profitable gain. Gucci chicken. League of change, similarly you're not the same as those who deceive to get pain. Emphasizing time to strain, focusing on loss and pain. Tearing like the rain, we switch up add on as we maintain.
Military mind in the military time. Military mind in the military time. Military mind in the military time. In full life, not civilly more truth. Get vexation when I'm picking up more proof. MD&N movement. We play PlayStation. Real, unreal, same anime. In full life, not civilly more truth. Get vexation when I'm picking up more proof. MD&N movement. We play PlayStation. Real, unreal, same animation.
How I'm living? Don't even ask. What I was given to complete my task. I'm moving slow, but my mind's moving fast. Wanna master ebb and flow, future, present, and the past. They say you don't need to know Allah's wisdom is too vast. Nothing to show, they wanna see what's in the stash. Can't see my growth while I've been wearing all these masks. Wanna hear a quote? First shall be last. Consider us the GOAT, true leader walks the path. Hope you're taking notes. We do it on behalf. Don't need a vote, confidence is what I have. Chakras in my throat, express, perfect the craft. Wanna rock the boat, trying to stir up his wrath. Everything they wrote, not true, you do the math. Huh? What? You do the math. Everything they wrote, not true, you do the math.
In full life, not civilly more truth. Get vexation when I'm picking up more proof. MD&N movement. We play PlayStation. Real, unreal, same anime. In full life, not civilly more truth. Get vexation when I'm picking up more proof. MD&N movement. We playing PlayStation. Real, unreal, same animation.
Some are living in color, like the Wayans brothers. I'm living stress-free and staying given to others. Calm and credit abundant, only dead in my life, minus the degree weather in winter days and nights. I'm living prophecy, Moors with eyes wide open. Carry out the prophet's law by seeing and knowing. Man knows not by being told, I stay showing. Living by example, ancestors live through candles and drink good. Shrine cups stay empty. I'm living what I study, but not what ones tell me. Willing, able, and ready. I live sturdy and steady, walking the path of life with a hero medley. Ancestral forces protecting my steps. Live life every day full, it's like there's no more left. Living it right, not wrong, and higher self, not lower self. With one life to live, you owe yourself.
In full life, not civilly more truth. Get vexation when I'm picking up more proof. MD&N movement. We play PlayStation. Real, unreal, same anime. In full life, not civilly more truth. Get vexation when I'm picking up more proof. MD&N movement. We playing PlayStation. Real, unreal, same animation.
Well, babe, proper person, that's for life, baby. I'm Meridians to camp and I stand first lady. Hey, they will label me crazy, cause I had the baby. Refused to give him vaccines, maybe. I've been reading up on crack use lately. Don't blame me, cause the times are up on us to take back ownership of land. Who own us? Nobody. No more, you've been knocking on the wrong door, and you rocking with the wrong core. Revisit info, reliving what's more. Square and compass my forfeit. Black and white portraits remind me of why I never forfeit. Ancestors, not corpses. Third eye open, looking further than the culprits. Try to perpetuate on pulpits. I'm bringing back the forescript. Prophet Juwali never forced it.
In full life, not civilly more truth. Get vexation when I'm picking up more proof. MD&N movement. We play PlayStation. Real, unreal, same anime. In full life, not civilly more truth. Get vexation when I'm picking up more proof. MD&N movement. We play PlayStation. Real, unreal, same animation.
Reppin' thought? Why not? Sidelock, civil side until he gets homie by my side. So smooth the way this beat that I rock. American, not from Plymouth stock. Who is he that gave the key that fits the locks? We call him Sheikh Sharif Abdul Ali. Gave us the tools to help us set our minds free. From New Orleans, Mexico to Mali. He's that water in that deadly raw heat. Quench a nation, no small feat. No Euro step, no floor squeak. No disrespect to the Moorish work heat. Full crowd pack stand, sold out floor seats, but for no less than 50K. 2 right, 5 left, don't deliberate. You know we come to liberate.
In full life, not civilly more truth. Get vexation when I'm picking up more proof. MD&N movement. We play PlayStation. Real, unreal, same anime. In full life, not civilly more truth. Get vexation when I'm picking up more proof. MD&N movement.
You playing PlayStation, real unreal thing.
I walk in my shoes and do it in town. It's all too cool. It's nothing to learn to understand. Too cool, and I feel like to turn it up. The lyrics will burn it up. I'm tied to the land like road, flag red like rose. With a green 5-star, I demand my goals. Eyes open, never find them closed. Higher self, well spoken, what my mind exposed. Living with battle scars, I don't lie about those. I'm a rebel with a cause, catch me flying by slow. Hear me level with the gods, hope it stand my flow. On the square with the laws, yeah, the wise man knows. The challenge jurisdiction, putting up strong resistance. The revolution here, we refuse to be the victims. Navigating L's, traveling, go the distance. I am my ancestors without doubts or contradiction.
In full life, not civilly more truth. Get vexation when I'm picking up more proof. MD&N movement. We play PlayStation. Real unreal thing anime. In full life, not civilly more truth. Get vexation when I'm picking up more proof. MD&N movement. We play PlayStation. Real unreal thing animation. Not living cause my heart beating. This is for a law beating. Man, status first territorial next. This not hard, don't make it complex. Man, not living cause my heart beating. Assistance for a law beating. Man, status first, territorial next. It's not hard, don't make it complex. Man.
Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Movement so alive that dead status can't touch this. People getting mad, we giving them more truth. Look at my face if you really need more proof. Philly T.O., I'm still at home. Northwest, the Mexum, the land that I know. When y'all suit and chic, opened up the booth, stepped inside, dropped a little more truth.
In full life, not civilly more truth. Get vexation when I'm picking up more proof. MD&N movement. We play PlayStation. Real unreal thing anime. In full life, not civilly more truth. Get vexation when I'm picking up more proof. MD&N movement. We playing PlayStation. Real unreal thing animation.
You know, we had to hop in the booth. Scoring 3 points, I got 23 on my shoe. I'm spitting fire in the booth. You know I'm sharp like a tooth. They always laughing, but I know that I got nothing to lose. 5 principles, you know what they are. Love, peace, truth, freedom, and justice. All these haters can't touch them. All these lame ass niggas got me feeling too nauseous. Round me better be cautious, cause you know that I killed you.
Pita, pata. Step up to the plate, get time the next batter. Kundalini rising as the beat gets fatter. Walk the silent as the critics. So far, them got more bringing the beat. One got them scatter. Them standing in square. I'm like circle on the scatter. More freaking out truth.
We a murder in the beat. Red flag, wave it. Red tag, save it. Red green, what that means? Moorish lands, bourbon. Who got claimed Elbit? Not the name MJ. Lushy green was the parcel, all pristine and so awful. Know thyself, the father from my aunt capstone. Rip the ground, we put it back to top. See some real engineering, really no Indian nigga. Blackstone from the next planet. Do you have no sword? Just a stick faggot. Batman still up in the cave, he got some sick gadgets. Nigga rich run a whole city with no power till the apocalypse now. In the door coward. Red flag make a 7 as it rains. The flag above many that is waved. Something from here to say. I'm an all man, got a lot of left, chopped up, you say back up. You see the red flag waving, red tag saving, red green, what I mean, Moorish land bourbon. Who got the name Elvin, not the name MJ. Lushy green was the postal, all pristine, and so all the red flag waving, red tag saving, red green, what that mean, Moorish land bourbon. We got claim Elvin, not the name MJ. Lushy green was the postal, I've seen some before.
Our value representation, this flag represents a nation. Collecting information, tracing our roots, not chasing, pacing our progress, doing more, saying less. Black, white, gray, MSF, R&G in our breath. The depth of what we do is best presented by how we grew. What's true is in the beholder to answer the question over. Some call it closure, I prefer to say we open since we're still scoping for knowledge, and others now awoke. spoken. Open little to not prep a work plan, plot, strategize to maximize the probability. We saw caught between honor and a small place. The decisions that we make, ripple effects, minor or great, still I appreciate.
Red flag waving, red tag saving, red green, what I mean, Moorish land urban. Who got claim Elvin? Not the name MJ. Lushy Green was the boss of over steam and support. Red flag waving, red tag saving, red green. What that mean, Moorish land urban. We got claim Elvin, not the name MJ. Lushy Green was the boss of some obscene, some cordial.
50,000-year-old ancestral claiming, flag in the ground, hear the flapping fabric sound. Red for the bloodshed of celestial realms. When all you see is fezzes and turbans. Be overwhelmed, standing on the squares, independent and fearless. From lower self to higher self, with no interference. 5-point star is her. We call her Venus. My niggas are Nagas, inappropriate persona genius. In 3, 5, or 7 plus. Whenever you see us, Moorish national disciples, Prophet Ali and Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, Confucius, the same frequency. Preceding all man-made religions, it's plain decency. Secret teaching of the ages, the heart is where the life is. Osiris is Orion, Horus, Mars, Sirius, Isis. Clear conceptions of your work during a crisis. Rep my flag till I'm dust, or the husk is lifeless. Rep my flag, red, green, 5-point star, no gold fringes. Stand on my square. No liberty infringes, no rights violated, no Negroes emancipated. All they know is castrated and decapitated. Red flag. 5-point star.
Red flag waving, red tag saving, red green, what I mean, Moorish land urban. Who got claims Elvin, not the name MJ. Lushy Green was the boss of over steam and support. Red flag waving, red tag saving, red green, what that mean, Moorish land urban. Who got claims Elvin, not the name MJ. Lushy Green was the boss of some obscene, some cordial, toxic turban.